Ladies and gentlemen, students and time-traveling sorceresses alike, hello and welcome to the 140th episode of the Retrotopia podcast. My name's Alan, and today we are talking about one of the most divisive entries in that world-conquering JRPG series, Final Fantasy. That's right, it is of course Final Fantasy VIII, which is a game that is probably loved and hated in a pretty much 50-50 split in the gaming world. And let me tell you, there is just as much of a divide between the hosts here at Retrotopia. We get into it on this one. It's probably going to be one of our longer episodes, so I'll try and be brief in the intro, but this is probably as close as we've ever come to just throwing hands in the Retrotopia lunchroom. Because that's what you call it, isn't it? Lunchroom. Not cafeteria, Alan. That would have been too clever for you. That being said, if you are only interested in the Final Fantasy VIII chat, and why wouldn't you be, you can probably skip ahead about 30 minutes or so and you'll get into the game chat proper, but I recommend sticking around, because not only are our intros fun, there will also be a test at the end, so make sure you study up. First up, of course, I do need to get our plugs out of the way. So linktree/Retrotopia, that's linktr.ee/Retrotopia, is where you can find all things Retrotopia, including our socials, our merch page, our dashery page with all of our fine and classy clothing for you fine and classy people. You can find our Discord, and listen, if anything we say in this episode gets your blood boiling, then why not join our Discord and let us know, what we got right, what we got wrong. It's literally the best place to talk to us, and a wonderful place to hang out, actually. Wonderful people in there. You can also find our Patreon. Now, our Patreon is free to join at the base level, and you get access, obviously, to Retrotopia. You get access to Brian and Joe's Retro Bites series every month with an extra topic tacked on for our Patreons there. That's a wonderful little bit of everything, bit of a potpourri of gaming topic show that they have going on over there. You also get access to our currently bi-weekly quick play series, in which one of us will talk about a short game with maybe not the legs or fairly inaccessible to the other host, just a quick 20 to 30 minute bite-sized chunk of gaming loveliness. You can also vote in polls, you can comment on episodes, you can comment on the game of the week, you can play our choose one, lose one, all kinds of good stuff. It's all there on Patreon. Why don't you go and check it out? That being said, we do have a hero tier, which at $2 means you get all of the above. You get access to New Game Plus, which is kind of our modern review show where we take the retro out of Retrotopia and just talk about some of the games that we've been playing recently that are recent games. So they don't really fit in with the retro style of the main show. You do also get the chance to pick a quick play and throw it at a host of your choice. And that's been a lot of fun. I've got a few on the go at the moment that I'm working through. So don't worry, guys. You know who you are and your episodes are coming. It's just you've picked some doozies of some games for me to play. And if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, pick a doozy of a game or something that you haven't heard anyone talk about ever and throw it at one of us. If we can access it, we'll take a crack at it. And we are currently looking at, for you Hero Tier Patreon, ways to maybe give you some more choices when it comes to your quick plays. Just somehow open it up to you getting more picks, but without swamping ourselves in the progress. So don't worry, we're banging our heads together behind the scenes to bring that to you. And there might be some new content coming from the Hero Tier Patreons in the not too distant future, but that's all I'm going to say about that. Now then, something that is available to any Patreon of any tier is, of course, the ability to write in and comment in our 9-bit banter box. And like the plot and story of Final Fantasy VIII, it is culturally elegant. Take that, Brian. Alright, let's see what we got here. And first up on the 9-bit banter box, we have The Big Deal, who says, let's try again. Are you familiar with the YouTube channel SNES Drunk? I think Sam may be SNES Drunk, or at least that's what I picture in my head anytime I hear either of them talk. As for you, Alan, I can't help but picture you as John from Nintendo Life, especially if you hit us with a, hello lovely people. I don't know how he says it, I'll have to look that up. Brian is the only one whose voice I cannot place, so who do you think is his vocal doppelganger? No big deal. I've heard of SNES Drunk. I think it comes up on my recommended algorithm on YouTube. I don't watch a lot of YouTube these days. I used to watch quite a lot, like AVGN and stuff like that. But it keeps getting recommended to me. Is that something that I need to check out? I see it all the time. And Nintendo Life, no, I'm not. Again, I might have seen it while scrolling. I don't think I've ever watched one. And Brian, who would Brian's voice? I mean, Brian is a one of a kind, isn't he? He's just one in a million. I don't think there's anyone quite like Brian. And I think if anyone else had those sultry tones, I think we'd sue them for plagiarism, because clearly they're putting it on, because only the Golden God himself, that is Brian, can sound like that. So that may not be the answer you're looking for, but I don't think there's anyone quite like Brian. I love you, Brian. I mean, your opinions on Final Fantasy VIII may be a bit wonky, but nobody's perfect. Munchie says, Alan, first, glad to have you back. Second, did you have a good trip and care to share anything fun/interesting that might have happened? Thank you very much, Munchie. Yeah, I've been back a couple of weeks now. Obviously, the magic of podcasting, of course, means that this is happening a good deal after my holiday, but it was delightful. It was a great time. It's a place we've been a few times before, so it was almost felt like coming home in a weird way. Fun and interesting. There was loads of fun things. I mean, we went to a little farm and got to see lots of animals. So obviously, we took our daughter with us, so she got a kick out of that. We visited a dog rescue that they had out there, and they let us take a dog for a walk, which has gone a long way towards convincing us to pull the trigger and finally add a gentleman dog to the gentleman household. And then we went to a cat cafe as well, which again is another rescue, and you can go in the cage with all the cats there, and they're all available for adoption and really well looked after. So that was a blast. I love animals, any kind of animals. You know, I'm always gonna have a good time. We saw a turtle just swinging around in this massive fucking thing, like look the size of a bodyboard. You know, it was huge. So that was really cool. And one of the weirder things that happened is while we were walking down the strip, and bear in mind, like, the first time we went to this place was like 14 years ago, and some dude called me over, and I looked at him, and he looked at me, and we're just like, I know you from somewhere. And it turns out it was a guy from one of the restaurants we went to 14 years ago, and we both recognized each other, and fucking mad. Like, it's wild how some people just make such an impression on you. That you remember him all that time, because I'm terrible at that sort of thing, but no, I knew exactly who this dude was, and that was crazy. So yeah, small world. Richard Jago says, Alan, Brit to Brit, what do you think are the most defining British traits that denizens of other territories wouldn't think of? We have a few. I think the most obvious is, and it's especially applicable right now, is that we cannot talk about the weather without complaining. The weather is never good enough. It's always either too hot, too cold, too wet, or too dry. There is never a sweet spot when it comes to the weather to the British public. We are experts, proud experts in the art of queuing. Anything that we need to queue up for, everyone knows the rules, and if somebody breaks those rules, they will be subjected to the harshest tutting and eye-rolling that is possible on God's green earth. So it's like that bit in the not great remake of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, but it's Martin Freeman's character's like, I'm British, I know how to queue. And it's very, very true. And another thing I'd like to shout out, just in case Sam is listening, is our knowledge that the crisp sandwich, or potato chip sandwich, for those of you across the pond, is one of the most elite food items that's ever been created. Get your bread, put some crisps in between the two, and just go to town. I mean, it doesn't really matter what flavour, although, you know, can't beat a good ready salted inside the bread there, and we'll make a sandwich out of anything. The Brits, I think that's another one of our defining traits. We can make a sandwich out of anything, and they're always brilliant. Hooli says, Alan, my good sir, I hope you enjoyed your vacation. I did. This week I want to talk to you about food, specifically the man named Jamie Oliver. I watch a lot of cooking shows and he is a controversial over some of the stuff he does. How do you feel about this man being one of the main reps of UK chefs? I won't bring negativity, but I will say my opinions are not great. Hooli, neither are mine. If I'm honest, I mean, I don't really pay much attention to Jamie Oliver. I mean, I've tried a couple of his recipes in the past, and they've turned out okay. I think it's like anything. He has things that he does well, and he has things that he's just absolutely abominable about. I mean, if you've ever watched Uncle Roger on YouTube, one of the few things I do watch there, He has some very strong feelings about Jamie Oliver's Asian cooking. I think the thing is with Jamie Oliver is that back in the day, when he rose to popularity, there wasn't a lot of options around. You know, these TV chefs back in the day were fairly thin on the ground, and these days, like, you can find expert chefs just on Instagram, on YouTube, and, you know, everyone's got cooking content going on right now, and you really get an idea of, oh wow, like, it wasn't necessarily that this was good, it's just all that there was at the time. And, you know, I think Jamie Oliver has been surpassed many times over by a lot of the stuff. I love a good cooking reel. It always seems to know when I'm hungry as well, the bastard. But yeah, not great. Fairly forgettable, I think, is Jamie Oliver. Although that video where he's trying to convince the school children not to eat chicken nuggets and it backfires in his face is just hilarious. Good viewing, that. Blaine the Hoagie Man says, Alan, if you could take a character out of Final Fantasy VIII and replace them with another Final Fantasy character, who would you choose and why? Also, they don't have to be from the main party, it can be any character from 8. You know what, I didn't even have to think about this one, Blaine. I'm swapping the Cids. I'm taking Headmaster Cid out of Balamb Academy, and I'm replacing him with Cid from Final Fantasy VII, because the idea of that Cid having to be in charge of however many students, children basically, that they have in Balamb Garden just sounds like a very quick way to kill the man through stress. I think it would be hilarious watching him trying to deal with the day-to-day running of a school. Don't you think? Just being told off for smoking in the corridors and try not to swear every 5 minutes. Yeah. Cid for Headmaster Cid. That's my answer. Retro Salvage Games, whose sidebar is the official retro gaming store of Retrotopia. If you're ever interested in any of the games that we covered, why not check out Retro Salvage Games and see if he's got it for you. Great stuff, great friend of the show, and we love you. 10 Gallon Alan, he says, now that you've experienced the glorious Spider-Man and X-Men Arcade's Revenge, may I suggest another exquisite Marvel's SNES title? Cock that up. X-Men Mutant Apocalypse, another one of my absolute favourites from my childhood. Us kids were eating pretty good with our Marvel beat-em-ups in that era, weren't we? Glad you're home safe, and blessings to you and your family. Blessings to you and yours as well, Retro. Yes, so this is one of the ones that I have recently taken on for a quick play. Retro there is one of our hero tier Patreons, so he got to pick a game and have me play it, and on the back of quite a few very, very difficult games, he decided to give me another very, very difficult game, so thanks for that, buddy. But I'll save my thoughts for that when the episode comes out. X-Men Mutant Apocalypse, I've heard of it because I actually do want to build a collection of every single Marvel game I can get my hands on for the old gaming collection there, so that is definitely on the list. I've not played it, but I can guarantee you that at some point I will get around to it, because if it's a Marvel game, I want it in the collection, because I love Marvel. And yes, not all of them, but a lot of them are exceedingly good. And finally, I Did Nothing Wrong said, Hey Alan, I was wondering if you've ever played the SpongeBob games for the PS2, GameCube or Xbox, specifically Battle for Bikini Bottom and the movie game. They are so much fun and very competent platformers. Those two games are my childhood and I think you'd really enjoy them. No, I did nothing wrong. I mean, you know, I like SpongeBob as much as the next person. I've watched probably more than my fair share of episodes, but I've never actually given any thought to the games. I've always just considered them just, I guess, tie-ins, and they can be a bit of a mixed bag when it comes to quality. So you're telling me that these games are good, yeah? I mean, I've heard a lot of talk about Battle for Bikini Bottom, so maybe there's some fire to that smoke. I will get back to you on that one. If you say that they're good enough, maybe I'll add them to the collection and see if they float my boat. Yeah, all right. Duly noted. And that's going to be it for the 9-Bit Banter Box. Thanks everyone for writing in as always. But we are going to move on to the most brutal game show in video game history. It is, of course, Choose One, Lose One. Ladies and gentlemen, roll up and choose your power-up from the game of the week. You pick a power, we pick a consequence. It's Choose One, Lose One, the game where everyone's a loser. Oh, thank God for music breaks because I can finally get some water in. I mean, I know I'm talking quite fast, but I want to get through this because I'm acutely aware of how long this episode is going to be. But let's get into it. Choose one, lose one. So, Super Dave says, I want 100 GFs who really, 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 really love me. And before I get into how you're going to lose this one, I want to shout out the Almighty Dog. That's how it's spelled, Almighty Dog, who's actually brought up that this was an anime because otherwise I'd have had no idea what you were talking about. And I think I've got the general gist of things. So I'm going to say, yes, you can have 100 GFs, but you have to use them all equally or they'll die, which I think is what happens in that anime. So basically, every time you use one of your GFs, you have to use all of them. So you have to sit through every single GF animation in full, all 100 of them, and you have to watch. So I can't see that eating up too much of your day. I'm sure you'll be fine. Good luck with that. The Big Deal says my Final Fantasy knowledge stops at 7, but I assume this game has an airship, right? I'd like my own airship, please and thank you. Done, The Big Deal. You have an airship. It's the Final Fantasy VIII one. So you have to go to outer space to find it. I don't know how rich. Maybe see if you can tap up old Bezos there to use one of his rockets. They look perfectly safe, don't they? It's up there. It's waiting for you, buddy. You just have to get to it. Munchie says, can I get a gin blade? And that's his words, not mine. Can I get a gin blade? I don't care that it's dumb and kind of useless. I just think it's neat. Well, because you said gin blade instead of gun blade, I'm going to call you up on that. So you have a blade that fires gin, which sounds fantastic. But now you are too drunk to use it and accidentally lop off your own leg. Never drink and gin blade. Guys, it's dangerous stuff. Richard Jago says, I will choose the ability to make all the people who chat about the gunblade being dumb understand that actually they are wrong and it is in fact dumb for a totally different reason than the one they keep talking about. That or the ability to draw from my enemies. Well, I mean, we get into the gunblade, don't you worry. You can have your first one, except now we've got a whole different conversation that we need to have about the gunblade, and that's going to take up another 40 minutes of the episode. So now this thing is going to be about 3 or 4 hours long. So I hope you've carved out a good chunk of your afternoon to listen to this one. And as for your ability to draw from your enemies, you can draw magic from your enemies, but you also get all of their fears and neuroses and all of that, and they are cumulative. So every time you draw something from your enemy, because we're all a little bit on a spectrum, aren't we? I don't care what anyone says, but you get all of that. All of that. So please don't draw from me. I don't think you'd recover. Blaine the Hoagie Man says, I'll have a dog, please. Blaine, kind of hard to fuck this one up for you. I mean, God, sidebar. We are pretty close to the point that we have actually been window shopping for dogs. So watch this space. But okay, you can have a dog, Blaine the Hoagie Man. It's going to be a rescue, of course, because that's the best way to go about things. And I got this rescue dog for you from the Arkley Mountains, somewhere near a place called Raccoon City. So yeah, I'm sure that's perfectly fine, right? Enjoy your new dog. Speaking of the dog, Almighty Dog said, I would like a good sandwich. Well, yeah, as I've established, we're Brits, so we know a good sandwich. Unfortunately, I can't get you a sandwich, I'm afraid, but I can get you a delicious hot dog. Is a hot dog a sandwich? Discuss. Let us know in the Discord. But I will get you a good hot dog. The problem is you have to rush to the cafeteria to get it in time, and I'm pretty sure they already sold out. So it's there if you're quick enough, but I don't like your chances. Isaias says, I just want a real life version of Triple Triad and to be good at it. You are good at Triple Triad, and you now traverse the world, and every person you talk to, you offer to play them at cards, and it starts winding people up so much that they want nothing to do with it, and you are a social pariah. You are basically, what's the word? Excommunicated from society for your desire to play cards with literally everyone at all the worst possible times. Um, so yeah, you're really good at it, but nobody wants to play it with you. So there you go. I did nothing wrong once. A peak 10 out of 10 intro cutscene. You can have it. You can have a peak intro cutscene and everyone loves it. The problem is that's all you get. Because after that, everyone has absolutely no idea what you're about. They don't understand you. You are the most misunderstood person in history now. And that's a shame because you started off so well. And it all kind of went downhill from there. And Sharkbite says, I would like to have Quistis, please. Done. You can have Quistis. Now, she's the blue mage of the party, so you're going to have Quistis after she's absorbed the abilities of a Marlboro. So, good luck with that morning breath, my friend, because that is going to be an absolute fucking killer. Oh my god, we didn't talk about the Marlboros in this game, but is there any worse enemy in Final Fantasy? I fucking hate those things. Bad breath is just the worst attack ever, and I will not get off of that. Right, and that'll do it for Choose One, Lose One, I think. Well done, everyone. Thanks for playing. How are we doing? 20 minutes. My god, I am really overcooking this thing. So we're going to move on now to, of course, me with the Gentleman's Interlude. Welcome to Balamb Academy, students. It is my pleasure, as Headmaster Sid Kramer, to welcome you to an institution dedicated to discipline, growth, and the pursuit of excellence. Whether you have arrived to become a seed candidate, develop your talents, or simply discover your place in the world, your journey begins here. During your studies, you will attend practical combat classes, field examinations, and live training exercises that may take you far beyond our shores. Some of you will travel to distant cities, encounter unfamiliar cultures, and participate in events whose significance may not be immediately apparent. You may find that history is not as fixed as it seems, and that the choices of a few individuals can influence the fate of many. Our curriculum places particular emphasis on teamwork. The friendships you forge in classrooms, dormitories, and training grounds may prove as valuable as any weapon or technique. You will learn that leadership comes in many forms, and that strength is often found in understanding others rather than overcoming them. The Academy itself was established through a collaboration of remarkable minds, and many of the systems you will encounter were designed by a talented development team under the guidance of Yoshinori Kitase, with scenario work by Kazushige Nojima and character designs by Tetsuya Nomura. Their efforts ensure that your experiences remain memorable, even decades after enrollment. You may also notice that our training methods make extensive use of guardian forces, junction systems, and unusual examinations that occasionally seem to bend the rules of reality. This is entirely intentional. For those curious about our history, Balamb Academy first opened its doors to students in Japan on 11th of February 1999, before welcoming candidates in North America on 9th of September 1999 and Europe on 27th October 1999. Since then, generations of students have embarked upon the same adventure. Study hard, support your comrades, and keep an open mind. The future may depend upon it. Welcome to Balamb Academy. Alrighty, thank you very much, Headmaster Sid, for that delightful gentleman's interlude, and I hope you enjoy your time in the world of Final Fantasy VII. Before we get to talking about Final Fantasy VIII, of course, we like to hear what you guys think of the game, and we had a couple of write-ins this week. Munchie is going to kick things off with Final Fantasy VIII. This game absolutely screwed me as I overleveled early on and realised how much of a terrible idea it was. We have all been there, Munchie, and don't you worry, we get into it on the episode, don't you doubt. Richard Jago says, aka the best Final Fantasy. I can only say this because I know Alan is reading this comment. You're damn right. Never liked Rinoa as the love interest or even as a character, to be honest, but the Junction system is easily the best Final Fantasy system in any game, even if the explanations were somehow both too slow and also not detailed enough. There are absolutely clunky elements in this game, but I'll take a clunkier game with more excellence than a smoother game that's above average all the way through. Richard, you're one of my people. Come and join Team Alan. Okay, we're drawing the battle lines here, and this is a civil war. So you're on my team now. Peter Brukers says, I started playing, thought about how ridiculous a gunblade is, never looked back. I don't know if that means you never looked back to mean you stopped playing, or you never looked back because the gunblade is absolutely fucking awesome and you decided you had to keep playing the game. I would love to know which it is, Peter. Game Genius says, "This is by far my favorite Final Fantasy game. I spent more time on this game besides 10 of them all. I love the magic system that overpowered your characters when equipped properly. I learned very early on about how the equipping worked. Unlike lots of people who complain because they didn't want to do the in-game tutorial and then complain about other games not having one or not a good enough one, the story was a little blah, but the game itself was great. I spent more time playing Triple Triad than any other minigame in any game. Also, the first girl I ever fell in love with, and I bonded over this. Oh, also the first girl I ever fell in love with, and I bonded over this. Ah. We spent so many hours grinding through this and getting all gooey over the love story, and gunblades are the shit. Mic drop. That's agreed. Agreed. And I love that. I love a good wholesome story. If you're about to hear, I'm a sucker for a good love story, Game Genius, and that one you dropped in there, that touched me. That's made my gooey center go even gooier. Ugh. Hooley says Brian really likes this game, right? He absolutely does, because Brian is a man of good taste, so he must like Final Fantasy VIII, right? Right? Stick around and find out. Hooley, wait, is that? Oh, Hooley. Hooley again said, "I will take the hot chick in the center. That is how this works, yes? It would be how it worked, Hooley, if you'd put this comment in the fucking choose one, lose one section like you're supposed to. And because you haven't, you get nothing, sir. You lose. Good day." But thanks for playing. Blaine the Hoagie Man says, "I'll just say I feel the hate for this game is really blown out of proportion. I honestly never found leveling up your characters up in this game to ever be a detriment unless you wanted to fight the two super bosses. Sure, the one twist in the story is stupid, but other than that, this game is pretty fun. I even like it better than 7. That is the hottest of hot takes, Blaine the Hoagie Man, and I'm not sure I disagree with you. I'm not sure I disagree with you. It depends on how I feel, but it's right up there for me as well. Isaias says, "This is my favorite and first Final Fantasy game. I know not many like it, but I think a great game. I think it's a great game, and I just love the characters. And who doesn't love shooting a dog from your wrist?" That's the energy that we need, Isaias. That is beautifully written, beautifully said, and I absolutely agree. Shooting a dog, the old Angelo cannon. What a fantastic move. Fallen Snow Kiku says, "I haven't played this one. I'd like to someday. It always kind of intrigued me, despite some people thinking it's worse than hemorrhoids, and even the ones that like it don't really seem to think it's their favorite. It's still Final Fantasy, and personally, I think that means it's kind of good." Well, listen to the other comments, Kiku. I mean, we're getting actually a lot of love for Final Fantasy in this Final Fantasy VIII in this comment section, so maybe some of us can convince you to give it a go. Uh, Retro Salvage Games is going to finish things up with, "It's no secret how I feel about this era of JRPG, but I will say that a close friend of mine many years ago would defend this game to the absolute death. He said it was the first game that made him cry because the story was so good. That always left a taste for this in my mouth, but I've never taken the time to play. I will now live the experience vicariously through you nerds." And I couldn't have thought of a better segue than that, Retro Salvage Games. So thanks everyone for writing in. Thank you for taking the time to play our games and talk to us. And just thank you for being here listening. We love every single one of you. But now it's time to enroll in Balamb Garden. It is time to junction some GFs. It is time to make sure you bring your very best deck of cards, because you're going to want to play it with absolutely everyone, as we get into our game chat and talk a little bit of Final Fantasy VIII, released in 1999 for the PS1. Thanks for listening, everyone, and enjoy the show. Alright, and we are back to talk a little bit of Final Fantasy VIII for the PS1. That's the one it was on. And with me, well, as always, I think, are two guys that I'm pretty sure I've never met before in my entire life. One's called Sam, and the other's called Brian. Pleased to meet you guys. I don't think we've ever met before, and if we have, I've forgotten. But I do believe you are the best-looking guys here. So, how you doing?
Well, fun story is you'll never be explained why we never met properly. It's just going to be thrown at you at the last second.
For I have amnesia.
Amnesia.
Fuck. That's two great Futurama pulls from you today, Sam.
Yeah, but they don't know if they're just listening to this. That was the after. If you want to see the other one, go and listen to the After Dark. Be Patreons. Do all of that good shit. How you getting on, fellas?
Being all cryptic and mysterious because, again, this plot is cryptic and mysterious.
And I love it. So, since neither one of you wants to tell me how you are, let's just move on.
I'm good.
Lovely.
Yeah, I'm great.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Brian. Oh,
Do you want to play Triple Triad?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
We should just randomly drop that throughout the. Hey,
well, fuck you do. You definitely doing this game, so yeah. Why the fuck not?
Yeah, just a completely random moments. I hated that. I like Triple Triad the game, but I really didn't like having to hit square at everybody just to see if I could have a game.
Can you imagine being around that guy? Just there's this one guy in the entire academy who's just wandering around, just challenging everyone to a game of cards. It's just like,
oh my god, it's like a Magic the Gathering nerd.
Yeah, except nobody else really wants to play.
Hey guys, you want to play Magic the Gathering? I got Yu-Gi-Oh!
I'm literally on fire
to play Yu-Gi-Oh!
This is not the time, Squall. So
we're gonna crash into that town. Want to play cards?
Absolutely. So I remember when I first experienced Final Fantasy VIII all those many years ago. I have no idea what year it was because I haven't done my homework and I haven't done the intro yet. But
1999.
1999. Thank you very much, Brian. Now shut the fuck up.
No.
I can't remember if it was Christmas or if it was my sister's birthday. But on one of those occasions, she received Final Fantasy VIII for the PlayStation 1. And because I was staying around my dad's at the time, what the hell else was I going to do? I'll watch her play this game. And guys, I was fucking floored right from the get-go. I mean, we'll talk about that opening cutscene in a little bit. But I'd never seen a game that looked like this before. And it's one of my earliest experiences with a JRPG. Certainly, I'd never played a Final Fantasy game before. So, seeing that opening cinematic and then, just getting little snippets of these characters and this world and just, I mean, only getting chunks of the story, but as it turned out, that made just as much sense. This game really captivated me and just stole my imagination. I've been a fan of the series ever since. What about you guys? What's your experience? Sam, what about you?
Oh, yeah, fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you, Brian.
No.
I was a late adopter to the PlayStation because I had a Nintendo 64 and I had a Sega before that, so I was kind of a Nintendo 64 kid by way of Sega, which is a weird trajectory. But I had always been intrigued by all these just the absolute bangers of games that were coming out on the PS1, and one of those was Final Fantasy VII, which I'd heard a lot about. And I think once the price came down, this is towards the end of the PlayStation 1 life cycle, I think I had ended up getting a refurbished one for a birthday. And obviously the brand spanking new at that time. This must have been 2000, I would say, because it came out in 99. I definitely didn't get it the very same year that it came out. But I think I had gotten a PlayStation and a very gently nice condition used copy of Final Fantasy VIII. And why not? Because 8's got to be better than 7, right? You fool. I mean, it was fine. But again, just Alan, like you said, the opening cutscene was very captivating. Graphically, it looked great for the time. I played the fucking hell out of this. Never finished it. Still have never finished it. But I have sunk many hours into this game over the past now 26 years since I first played it.
Oh, jeez.
I know. It's just like thinking about it. It's like, yeah, my birthday just came and went again, and
Yeah,
I was not.
it's
I
been
was
26
not.
at
years.
that comment.
I was not ready for that personal attack.
Oh, I know. It's just like I've been playing Final Fantasy VIII for most of the time that I've been alive.
That's
Oh.
crazy. Brian, what about you?
Oh man, so I'm ride or die Final Fantasy. I've played them all, even
no
though I
secret.
haven't liked them all. So obviously did a ranking episode, but I I finished Final Fantasy VII, and I was working at an EB Games, or what turned into GameStop, which is now again EB Games here in Canada, and there was a game on the shelf, Brave Fencer Musashi, comes with Final Fantasy VIII demo disc. I'm like, well, it's Square, I'm going to buy the game regardless. So I got it. And the first thing I did before playing Brave Fencer Musashi was put in the Final Fantasy VIII demo disc. That's how excited I was for that. And it does the exam mission, the one where you go to the island there and you have to get to the TV tower right at the beginning.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
I was like, this isn't too bad. The battle system's a little bit weird. I mean, you have to draw the magic, but like for the little snippet I had, it was fun. I was like, this is probably going to be a really good game. And then, of course, it comes out and I'm kicking and, beating up little children to get to the front of the line to get my copy. And I take it home and I start playing. And again, that opening cutscene, one of the best in video games. I will not argue that point at all. However, after that point, the game just kind of did not capture that excitement I had. And then as I played the game, I started realizing that they must have cut something. I guess they cut shit before I even knew they cut shit, because the story was so disjointed and the characters were so underdeveloped that it just, I stopped having fun. I literally just finished, like I think it was in the After Dark I said it, but I hate finished this game the first time I did it just to finish it.
Wow. Who doesn't love a good old hate finish? I feel like the way this is going, I mean, I am very much going to come out in defense of this game. So this kind of feels like a 2-on-1 situation, or at least maybe a 1.5-on-1 situation. Because I love this game. I really do. It has such a soft spot in my heart. And let's talk about that intro. I mean, as far as...
let's start on a high point. I like that. Let's get to the peak of this game, because it all goes downhill from there.
Shut up, Brian. I mean, even for whatever 1999, I mean, this looked spectacular, didn't it? I mean, it gets you pumped. The music, everything. I mean, God, what a way to start a game.
Yeah, Liberi Fatali is
yeah.
literally one of my favorite songs in video games, period. No, bar none.
Agreed.
It starts off with it just so good. Like, the water at the time was just such an amazing thing, the full motion video. And then you have that battle between Squall and Cypher, and you're like, these two dudes fucking hate each other. And you're like, you're watching, and you're super excited. And man, it just sets a tone of the video game. And everything in the video as you progress throughout the game is actually part of the game. It's not especially made outside of like the battle between Squall and Cypher. Everything you'll actually run into in the game, and it'll be explained if you pay attention. Because, yeah, like the Rinoa standing in the field of flowers, that's explained late in the game. It's just, it was really well done, and it made me super excited to play the game.
I mean, the battle between Squall and Cypher is literally what starts the whole game. I mean, it's,
well, yeah,
it's
I get it, but I was trying to say that the other stuff you see in it, like all the stuff that cuts from them fighting, is stuff throughout the game.
Foreshadowing, yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for, foreshadowing.
Yeah, it's so good.
Future telly thingy.
That's the one. Good word. I like it.
Yes.
Or kind of, not even foreshadowing. They just straight up kind of show you what it is. So I don't know what that...
Yeah, it's without context, and it's...
Yeah.
Play the game enough, and you watch the video again, and you start seeing like, oh, I know that part. Oh, I know that part.
Which kind of makes, and I'm going to save a lot of the story beats for much later in the episode, because I feel like the story is probably the most divisive part of the game. Well, I mean, it's certainly up there, and we will definitely get into it, because I feel like that does tie into the overarching sort of theme of this entire game. But I mean, to set the stage a little bit, I mean, you play Squall. I mean, well, I say Squall. I mean, you can change your character's name. Do you ever change your character's name on a Final Fantasy?
Never.
No, me either.
No.
Like when I play a Zelda game, I always call him Link because I'm that uncreative. I just take the name that he's given.
I just feel
Isn't
like
it
it's
Zelda?
a bit. Yeah.
I'm kidding.
I think
Yeah, if you
changing
put it in the
Link's...
original NES cartridge, you get the the second mission or the master mode or whatever they call it,
Oh, yeah.
Master Quest.
Oh yeah.
But anyways, that's off topic.
I feel
but
like
more
it should be
interesting than this.
illegal to change Link's name. I mean, straight to jail. So yeah, you are a student at this Balamb Academy, which trains up. Now, how do you say it? I've always said seeds.
Yeah, I was going to ask that same question because the D is capitalized, so I always said CD because it was never spoken.
Oh, yeah.
But you watch any video, it's called seed, but they're in a garden, so it makes sense. Plus, he's growing them for a purpose. I don't know. I always said CD.
Oh my god!
I said it too.
How
but-
did I? How did I never put Balamb Garden and Seed together? 26 fucking years, and Brian,
Yeah.
you've just literally blown my
So-
mind.
Listeners, right now, you just realize his credibility is completely shot, so I shall be the authority on the rest of this game.
It's
Any
definitely
excuse.
it's definitely Seeds and Garden, but I call it Child Soldiers.
Child soldiers, yes, they are a child militia. Not least
I
a
mean-
childhood militia that is made out of basically orphans from the Sorceress War, which is a whole big thing that happened in the history of this world, and that's kind of
Properly
dark.
explained.
I mean, yeah, it's all in there, and it's like, yeah, well,
Somewhere.
there was this huge war between nations, and now we're basically training up child soldiers to sort of stop it from ever happening
Explain
again.
right off the hop.
And bit weird. So yeah, you're in this school and you're learning how to fight and how to use your GFs and what have you, and then being sent out into the world on missions. And Brian, you touched on the I know I'm talking about story here, and I said I wouldn't, but you touched on the
we can let's avoid that part of the story. Just finish your summary there. We'll get into the game mechanics first.
yeah, that's probably a good way of going.
The story discussion is probably going to take over a lot of the conversation. So if we focus on the physical aspect of the game over the
See,
story, we should do fine.
See, he's keeping me honest. I mean, obviously, it's a Final Fantasy game, so you know the basics of a Final Fantasy game, turn-based combat and what have you. But there are a lot of things in this game that sort of buck the trend of Final Fantasy. Some of them perhaps rub you up the wrong way, Brian.
Yes, like the fact that using magic actually makes you weaker
That is true.
because your stats are tied to what magic you have or you equip, and your guardian forces. Like everybody knows, leveling up in this game is actually a negative, and that right there is one of the reasons why it's the lower tiered Final Fantasy games.
I mean,
Great
you say
system in theory, but the draw system itself, like you have to stand in a battle there and you have to draw the magic out of the enemy. Every enemy only has certain types of magic, so you're sitting there getting hit, trying to build up your magic stock, and then if you use the magic, then all of a sudden your stats go down a little bit. It's just
Yeah.
I don't know who came up with that idea, but they should be shot out of a cannon.
That is a tough concept when like I would do the same thing, and even one of my more recent playthroughs I was just like, yeah, just grind for a bit. It's like you're really not only do you not have to, you're almost punished for it, but you also have to balance between like grinding your levels and then also trying to get as much of the like AP or whatever the points as possible for the guardian forces to learn all their abilities, and like the only way to do that is to complete battles, but completing battle there's like a balance, like don't do too many of them or you're gonna level up too high. And then
there's a way to game this system when you have Cypher in your party, and I can't remember the exact thing you do, but essentially it kind of prevents you from having to level up, and I'd have to look it up, but
that's interesting.
I'll do that while you guys talk.
well the other thing I wanted to mention on the drawing too is just like sometimes it's a little trial and error to see, and luckily you can auto junction, and we haven't even gotten to junctioning yet, but Jesus Christ, it's like chicken or the egg. Like, what do we talk about first?
There's so
You're like
much
drawing magic, can tie directly into your stats if you have your magic assigned to different stat points, and that's why the system is kind of brilliant, is because you can, if you play it right, you can not have to level up, and you can have a really, really good party with magic junction to the right spots. But then, like, the other thing is, like, the best magic for attack apparently is Demi, which is like the gravity magic, and that's really hard to find. And also, if you're trying to draw it off of like a run-of-the-mill enemy, like, a lot of times those magics that are very highly desirable, the draw will fail more often than not too. So like that also wastes your time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, the double-edged sword with equipping your magic and your stats. Like Alan mentioned it, like I think it was the last podcast when we did Tomb Raider, that he treats stuff like, the elixir. You never use the elixir in a Final Fantasy game, even if you're fighting the final boss, because you never know if you're going to need it after. And it just became something ingrained in our brains. And that's what it does to magic. It makes you never want to use magic because your stats are going to go down. Or you have to figure out how to use the magic that's not tied to your stats. But if you have magic not tied to your stats, why have that magic in the first place?
I guess. And the thing is, like you said earlier on in this little rant, which, to be fair, I do agree with, that, everybody knows that this is the system in Final Fantasy VIII with regards to leveling. Well, I sure as shit didn't know when I first started,
nobody did.
Which led me to an all-nighter, literally playing this game overnight in the deep sea facility, leveling up all of my characters to level 100 before I took on the end game. And boy, oh boy, I mean, I beat the game, but oh boy, did I have a bad time. Because, these students at the academy, they are given the ability to use the GFs, which are your summons, just like in every Final Fantasy game. And the summons themselves are incredibly intricate as well, because you can give each character any number of these summons, and as Sam mentioned, they can learn the abilities to junction magic to every stat available to the character: strength, speed, luck, all of that good stuff. But then sometimes the GFs don't play well with each other. You can't, for instance, have Ifrit and Shiva together because, they're opposing elements. So that plays a factor. And it's a wonderful system. It's just almost unfathomable to try and work out. I mean, if you've got a guide, great, but good luck piecing this all together yourself. I mean, great for, I guess, trial and error, but that trial and error is going to inevitably have you leveling up and having the game level up with you, and you being grossly underpowered to tackle anything.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. Is it for me? It's kind of a weird thing because I found it was so underexplained how to use the Guardian Forces that, the trial and error is kind of fun, but the basic uses of them is just, it's so tedious to learn because it didn't really overly explain it super well, and I did not know how to use the Guardian Forces without a guide.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah.
And in fact, when I played it when I was a kid, it was like I would only use the Guardian Forces, which is, it's like I would rarely, and still to this day, I'm just like, man, I just don't feel like my attacks are doing enough damage. Yeah. And then it's like you let Shiva do its thing, and it's doing like 300, 400 damage, and your Gunblade is doing like 100. It's like, well, I'm going to pick, obviously, you have to wait more time, which the battle system's just weird. But anyways.
Which Guardian Force is it that it shows up in the battle randomly and then kills the enemy for you, which kind of ruining your ability to...
Odin?
Odin.
Yeah, is it Odin? Yeah, and then he turns into somebody when you fight Cypher, and that... I got that one way too early in my last playthrough, and fuck me if that guy is not annoying, because you just want to sit there and grind some magic. You need to get magic, and then all of a sudden he shows up and kills the enemy just out of the blue, and you can't control him.
And kills the one that you need to, like, You know, it's like you find
Yeah.
some sort of creature. It's like, oh, I know they have this magic I need to draw off of there. It's like, here comes fucking
Always aims for
Odin.
that one.
Yeah.
I hadn't even thought of that, but that is so true.
Fucker.
Like there were some occasions where like that screen would fade out, and you're just like, "Oh, for fuck's
God
sake,
damn
Odin!"
it.
Or Gilgamesh. I think he does more
Yeah,
or
I
less
think
the
he
same
turns
thing.
into Gilgamesh later, right?
Yeah, and Gilgamesh. Yeah, that's right, because he literally gets
Yeah.
sliced in half. That's true.
Yep.
And yeah, and you get Gilgamesh, who's basically a bit of a roulette with regards to like one hit kills or just does one damage or stupid shit like that. I hadn't actually thought about that. That is very, very true. But the GFs, they are
Yeah.
cool. I mean, the summon animations and all of that stuff, they're great fun to watch, but I do just end up not using them by the end of the game.
No, and if you are, I mean, you're putting yourself at risk because it's taking you, like, the thing that I didn't really consider back when I was a kid was like, okay, I can assign Shiva or Ifrit or whoever, and oh man, it's going to be something else when I get there. But you know, the active battle system, you know, ticks up, and then you select your GF, and then it ticks back down. So it takes extra time. Then there's also the
Yeah.
animation, and the funny thing is like sometimes you're having to do things on a time limit in this game, and like the time
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
stop for fucking anything, no matter what. Like
True.
if you
Oh,
choose to use a
that
GF,
can be tedious.
yeah, you're sitting there for a minute, and it's just coming off the clock.
Oh, you get frustrated. Yeah, I remember that.
Oh yeah,
Then at the same time, the enemies are like leveling at your level. So
mm-hmm.
if you haven't gamed the system a little bit there, where you've increased your stats through magic and guardian forces, you're basically like ticking more time down fighting enemies that you'll never overpower.
Yeah, it puts you at a disadvantage not using the junction system.
Yeah, and the enemy leveling thing isn't itself a bad thing. It is the fact that it's just broken. Like the reward of going into a new dungeon is you start out struggling and you leave like a king. And you just don't get that feeling in this game because you struggle your whole way through, because even if you do gain a level accidentally, the enemies tend to just be right at the same level. So the fighting never really gets easier. And I don't know, that just everybody loves being a god in a video game. That's why
Oh,
we play video
absolutely.
games. It's to basically be a digital god. And this game doesn't give you that unless, again, of course, you figure out how to game the system. But
Which is
as a kid, are you really that good at figuring out all these complex
I wasn't.
ways to use your guardian forces?
I'm gonna walk you back on that statement that it's broken though, because I don't think it's a broken system. I just don't think it's an incredibly well explained one. Like it works and it works well. Like when you start getting these junctions and start collecting this magic and using it to buff your stats and whatnot, you do get a noticeable difference and fights do start getting easier. So it's a good system. It's just, I think it's like Sam said, like somewhere in our chat there. It's just like you need a PhD to kind of understand what's going on.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the fact that the really off-putting part of this game is like the beginning is so fucking lengthy, just because they're like they have to go through and explain this whacked out system that they came up with.
Oh, and they do it with that tutorial style of follow the text.
Yeah, I mean, the classroom scene, like right at the beginning, when you exit the infirmary, you go to the classroom, you can go up to that console and look up all the tutorials, but I mean, whether you do it then or later when it's kind of forced upon you, it doesn't really matter because it doesn't always make sense out of context. And I don't know, when I'm playing a game, I'm not necessarily in the mindset that I want to sit down and it's like playing a board game that you've never played before and you have to sit down and read the rule book first. Like I don't want to do that when I'm playing a video game.
Or worse, you're the guy reading the rules on the board game and nobody's listening.
Oh, yeah.
Then you start the game and the first question comes out of their mouth, what am I supposed to do? And you just want to hop the table and take the pieces and fucking fire it down their throats.
Yeah.
Just flip the table and yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of clever and kind of cheeky that they explain all that away by it literally being a school, so it doesn't feel out of place. But I'll hear the argument that a bit more of an organic tutorial would have been useful.
Yeah,
Because it does kind of
Well,
explain everything before you can use it.
It does, but in, like I said, the most boring kind of way that you have to read the text on the screen as it kind of shows you a PowerPoint of what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I don't like that in any game. Like, personally, I like tutorials that are interactive or part of the game, like press X to jump or whatever. Final Fantasies, or I guess JRPGs in general, tend to have like walls of text teaching you everything. Like I started playing something of Elliot. Fuck, I can't remember the name of Adventures of Elliot or whatever.
Oh shit, is that out?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that
I'm
come
playing
out
the
yet.
demo. Like,
okay.
yeah, I'm playing the demo right now.
Oh, let's talk about that game instead.
Yeah, but just back to my main point here is that game does the exact same thing. It just slaps you with a wall of text every time it wants to explain something, and I'm too money to read, so I just kind of skip over it and figure it out as I go along.
Did you just say you're too money to read?
Money to read, yeah,
Too money.
Dollar bill, y'all.
Mate, you are so fucking cool. When I grow up, I want to be like Brian.
Hey, I'm 40-something years old right now. I'm allowed to say what I want.
You can. Oh shit, so am I. I'll say whatever I want. Probably get us cancelled. The problem with that as well is that there is such a huge bit of foreshadowing in that tutorial area that really goes a long way to explaining the plot in the latter half of the game, and you're just not going to find it in there, which is...
Oh, there's stuff about the early game that is used to explain stuff in the later game that just absolutely kills it for me. Like, Deus Ex Machina is basically the story arc of this entire fucking story. Because, anyways, we could get into that in a minute. I'm now going off topic.
That's a teaser. Well, I mean, before we get into story and, what's a Final Fantasy game without the team? And, let's
talk about the douchebags.
This one has a team, predominantly students. I'm going to try and do this all from memory. So, obviously, you play as Squall. You've got Zell, Quistis, the teacher, Selphie, who's another student, Rinoa, Irvine. Am I missing anyone?
No.
Is that all of the playable characters?
Outside of the temporary playable characters like Laguna and Kyros and Ward.
We'll get into those later on. But...
We'll talk about that one like separately because that is kind of a plot unto itself.
Oh yeah, big time.
Did you get Zell? No. You got Zell, right?
I got Zell.
Yeah, you got Zell second.
How could you forget Zell? The guy who is just definitely not Tifa. He wishes he was Tifa.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I think that's another problem with this game is they tried so hard to recapture the magic of the Final Fantasy VII characters that a lot of them just fell flat.
I guess, and I suppose there are analogs in that game as well. Like there are comparisons to be made. But I mean, what did you? He says, heart in throat. What did you think of these characters?
Sam, go ahead.
Oh,
I need time.
I mean, Squall had that nice edgy, like whatever.
Whatever, man.
So I that resonates with maybe a teenager playing the game. Not so much now. I see Squall's attitude now. I'm just like, oh god, this is just tiresome. Zell,
teenagers.
Yes, Zell is your typical kind of rambunctious, overzealous type. Maybe that's why his name is Zell. And then I mean, Rinoa is fine. Selphie is kind of just boring, and I don't think she's that great anyways. I mean, you could make any of these characters anything you want by equipping GFs and junctioning, but I mean, her weapon is stupid. It just doesn't. It doesn't feel like it does much damage, and it just doesn't look like it does much damage, and she just sucks. Quistis, I think Quistis is pretty cool, but she's also weird too because she's like a teacher, but not really. Because I think if you look in
she's a teacher who got kicked out of being a teacher because of what happened on the exam island.
Exactly, but she's also like barely not a student herself, so like she must have been some sort of, I think her bio, and the cool thing about these games back in this era were like they would have full bios of all the characters with their ages and stuff, so it's like where maybe like Squall is 17 or whatever, and so he's like what, a high school junior or senior age, Quistis is like 19, so it's like, yeah, she's a teacher and she's quote unquote in charge, but she's barely,
Mm.
you know, ahead of them at all, which is
I mean,
just kind of funny. It's just like
she got
she's
fired.
barely a teacher. Yeah.
Well, not fired, but she got stepped down from being a teacher, as you say, after the Dollet mission there.
Yeah,
but I think
not only did she get stepped down, she got put as a subordinate to her student that was on the failing team.
Well, let's be honest.
Right.
Like she was on the cards for getting stripped of being a teacher long before that. I mean, that girl wanted to jump Squall's bones, mate.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they all do,
Yeah.
because that's what Final Fantasy does. There's the brooding protagonist who's Squall, and this is what I hate about Squall. His entire story or characters develop through his own thoughts, and that is such a cheap trick. They don't have to show anything. They just always put it in bracket there, and he's thinking. Everybody's like, "What are you thinking of, Squall?" And he's like, "Nothing."
Nothing, and then
And
you
it's
have to
like,
read like
yeah.
a fucking novel about what he's thinking about.
Yeah, I was so poorly done. They're all poorly developed. Like Rinoa shows, like it starts out great with Rinoa. She shows up to that like ball or dance, whatever. Her and Squall dance, but she's kept the mystery. And then when you finally run into her, she's like a childlike mercenary, and it's or protester or whatever you want to call her, and it's just like kind of breaks the whole thing. Then she reveals that I was banging Cypher, but thanks second choice. And Quistis, she starts out okay, but as soon as they turn her into a subordinate of Squall, she loses all credibility in my eyes, because she should, like, the fact that Squall becomes the entire commander of the garden just because like they don't have a better option, it's bad storytelling. And Quistis becoming his subordinate because she was part of or the instructor of the failing team that Squall was part of. And then Zell, he gets introduced on the exam island, and they started building him up, and all of a sudden, they just stopped. Like, they just explaining his life or his story, they just stopped altogether and just like, well, I guess we're done with him. Sam nailed it. Selphie is boring. She has a backstory because she comes from that other garden, the Trabia Garden, and they go there, but again, after that, it's just no real conclusion to her story. And then Irvine freaking shows up at a badass sniper, and then you get to the first mission where he has to be a sniper, and he's like, I can't do it. And then they never develop him further from that.
Yeah, he's kind of dead weight after that.
Yeah.
Ugh.
You see,
Like,
though,
outside of them
story-wise.
being characters in the party, I mean, Sam nailed it. You could turn them into whatever you want, so they're perfectly executable members of the party, but their stories are just flat.
see, I don't know though. I mean, and this is where I'm sort of going to come out in defense as the last man standing here. I mean, these are children, basically. These are children thrust into an army, into a basically a war that they don't understand. So I feel like where you see a sort of lack of development, I kind of see as they're being used as pawns and they don't really know any better. And that's kind of a theme that runs through this game. It's just like
Yeah.
they have been brought up this entire time to think a certain way. They're the propaganda and what have you around them. It's just like, well, this is definitely the right thing to do. So I find that they're gradual sort of revelations about, well, actually, this is not what we've been told. And this is, we haven't actually been told what seeds are for and what their mission is. And their gradual realization of that and then sort of taking control of the mission themselves. It does show character growth. I mean, all right, maybe
But
not.
they're not
Hang
even
on,
developed.
you've had your turn.
No, this is our fight.
This is our fight, but I mean, all right, granted, maybe it's not on an individual level, but it's kind of broader than that. And okay, yeah,
Here's
I'll hear
where I
the
want to
argument.
counter you quickly,
Oh,
because
go
this
on.
is a major point I wanted to counter you on. Is it's not that they're individually developed; it's that they're barely developed with the main character Squall. He has very superficial connections to them, and it's understood that the entire thing is they're connected because of that one big event we'll get to. But reality is, individually, they don't have a moment with Squall where they say, well, we're now real bros, bro, or, I'm glad I'm with you. It's just, they're just there.
I mean, but it kind of does. I mean, as you said yourself, he's very sort of aloof and closed off and very brooding at the start of the game. And I do find that, he's gradually sort of opening up. And, there is literally no reason, as far as I can tell, for him to be this way, except, that's the teenage way. And listen, it was everything back in the 90s. Like,
Puberty, am I right?
yeah, am I right? We are looking at this from the perspective of like 40-year-old men, and we're just like, oh, these fucking kids, they don't know what strife is. Just get up and get on with it.
Back in my day.
I mean, listen, I judge teenagers now just like the rest of us, but back then, there was nothing cooler than being the dark, brooding, mysterious guy. So for me, these characters just fucking landed back in the day. But
that must be like a like your part of the world thing, because being the broody, whiny, emo character back where I came from was, mind you, a lot of people didn't like video games back then. So I guess I relent on that point simply because the circles I hung around with, they're all into sports, drinking, and having sex.
No, I was one of those emo nerds that was just like, oh, the hell with the world. I'm just going to sit here in a corner and write poetry. I never wrote poetry, but because I'm not very good. But yeah, I mean, the gradual sort of going from like these soldiers that are thrown together at the start of the game to like a genuine team by the end of it. Okay, I'll grant you the story just like it does jump a little bit and just take some liberties with that arc, but they do get there and it makes sense. And I don't know, I've just got a lot of love for these characters, more than some of the others from some of the other Final Fantasy games, if I'm honest, because I just find them to be very flawed and realistic. I don't know.
Hey, I don't know. Like, I'm not going to take away how you personally feel about them, but I see nothing but, like, we don't have time to tell a real story, so we're just kind of brush these people off. We'll give them their little moment there, but we won't really, build them up to that moment. We're just going to say, hey, now it's your turn. You can start your moment and we'll finish it, and then we'll just shuffle you back of the pack again. Now, like, obviously Squall, Rinoa, and Laguna, their stories are developed. Laguna less so, and we'll get into why. But, I mean, the whole story is Squall and Rinoa falling in love and then banging in a spacesuit. But reality is those two spend so much time in the will they won't they phase of the story that it just gets kind of like just go ahead and fucking do it, and don't tell me when you do, because I no longer give a shit if you do get together.
Don't care anymore. You took long enough that I no longer give a shit.
It's just, like Final Fantasy X, you look at Yuna and Titties. You look at their relationship and how it all culminates, and it was built up through the entirety of the story. They first meet, they get to know each other, events happen that creates, connection, and then it gets to that, famous scene where they're in the lake, and that's the moment they, finally hook up and do it without spacesuits.
But that's literally what happens in this game.
But it's not, because they start talking, but he's such a brooding pussy that he just sits there and talks to himself the entire time. And he should have wrote poetry, because at least he could have got some emotion out.
I mean, to be fair, like, I don't necessarily see now I don't anyway see what Rinoa saw in Squall to begin with, because just like, if that were me,
he had a gun blade. Wow. She has a type.
Yeah, fair play. It's just like, this guy's a bit of a dick, but all right. But no, I have to come out in defense of the love story. I think
it's the best part of the story.
It's not the greatest one I've ever seen in my life, but I think it works quite organically.
I don't know, like I'm saying, it is like the best part of the story is when they finally do ramp up that that connection, the emotions. When Rinoa is knocked out and Squall has to like get her revived, and all of a sudden that's like the culmination of that plot. But from up until that point, Squall just continues to be this like into his own mind character that can't outwardly express himself. And they really should have like changed that early on in the story, so he didn't have to learn his character through thoughts. It just piss poor character development, in my opinion.
I don't know. I mean, is there any better way to learn a character than by what they're thinking? I mean, that
Yeah,
seems
but it
incredibly
takes them
intimate.
out of the universe. Like, okay, do you feel yourself being Squall? Because you're not really thinking what Squall would be thinking. You're seeing what Squall is thinking. So you're looking at a character through a different lens. Video games put you in the shoes of Cloud Strife. They put you in the shoes of Master Chief. They put you in the shoes of the silent protagonist. And this game doesn't do that. They let you see the main character as if you're watching a movie.
It's
I
an
have a
internal
thought
monologue.
on this.
Go on.
Yeah,
Go on, Sam.
this internal
Weigh in.
monologue, like when I'm playing and I guess I am quote unquote Squall. You know, you're seeing what he's thinking. If you're, I guess, like if you're more of a, and maybe Squall, maybe we can consider Squall to be a compassionate person, but he's hiding it or he's trying to bury it. You know, you might be sitting there like screaming at your screen, like, just say what you're thinking, you know, like,
Yeah,
you can see
absolutely.
that you're seeing that development. The other characters aren't, and eventually maybe they do, but you're sitting there as the player, like, oh my God, like, I wish he would just speak up, and maybe if I play on, he'll actually voice some of these thoughts that he's having.
But
I don't know.
how many times does he have to be asked, what are you thinking? And he just goes, oh, nothing. And then the game carries on with the story.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
But
not
you
saying it's
know
a
what he's
perfect. I'm not saying
thinking.
it's
That's the thing.
perfect.
That's
I'm just, yeah, I'm just trying to rationalize.
Yeah, you do, but there's no connection to the other characters because it's like, I really feel strongly for these characters, thought Squall. Never
Thought
tells
Squall.
the other characters. The other characters are sitting there like, okay, what are you thinking about? He's like, nothing.
I
And then
don't
he
know.
goes and he,
I-
writes his poetry in his room.
I mean, I'm definitely with Sam on this one. I mean, it just,
Of course you are.
well, of course I am. It just feels, you do get that frustration. You're right. I mean, I'd never actually thought of it like that, but it is just a way of like, oh, come on, dude, just like, I know what you're thinking. Just tell them what you're thinking. And it
Right.
really
I'm not
sells
saying
I
I
that-
like. I'm
never
not saying
felt
I
that
like
way.
the concept. I'm just saying that it's like it is kind of a
Okay.
immersive. Well, I'm just saying like that's maybe that's why they did it, is that it kind of immerses you in this character, and then you can see, you as the player can see that he's, you know,
I
more than
see
an
the
aloof.
opposite.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I see the opposite of that because by them feeding me what I'm supposed to see in this character, they're not developing the character organically. They're basically giving me an essay on what this character is supposed to be, and I could have just read the cliff notes before I started the game.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
I suppose
Brian, would you like to play? Would you like to play cards?
Yes,
Lovely.
so.
but we can only go when that certain reward is. What is that? Early on in the game, when you get to the train station, you see somebody near the train station, you play cards with them, and if you back out and go in, you can win a specific ability that gains the triple triad and makes it super simple.
I mean,
Is
it's
that
already
right?
pretty
Know that?
simple.
Well,
Well, I mean, like, you get all the best cards right off the bat.
Yeah.
I did not know that. I'm going to have to look into that next time I play it. And there will be a next time. But that, I mean, let's talk about Triple Triad. You know, let's lighten the mood a little bit. I mean, is that, or is it not, one of the best mini games in any video game up until the invention of Gwent?
It
Do you
isn't-
know what?
it's a
I
neat
really
one.
wish Square would take these stupid, fun mini games and put them on your cell phone.
Oh my god, that would be perfect.
Yeah, I'd play
Like,
triple.
they can
Triad
make a
on the
buck
cell.
or two off these.
Yeah.
I'd buy
Yeah,
it.
it's the best part. Like, I mean, games that have these little mini games. Like, I just finished Sea of Stars, and they have the what's it called? The Gears game there. I
Oh,
can't
yeah,
remember
yeah.
the name of it. But yeah, I got low key addicted to that, and of course, same scenario. Oh no, the world's going to end. Let's go play, Gears or whatever it's called. But this is the same with this. But the game itself is really fun and super simple to learn.
Yeah. Although, once you start getting the because one of the clever things about I almost said Gwent, is that when you go to different regions, sorry, I just need to excuse me. When you go to different regions and play cards, they have different rules, which can then spread back to where you came from. So the triple triad that you start with at the start of the game is nothing like it looks like by the end of the game. And sometimes it can get very, very convoluted and sometimes very frustrating when you've spread a rule that you didn't mean to.
Oh yeah, there are some rules that like the first rule that I encounter. One of the first ones I think you can encounter in the game is playing with your cards flipped, which that is kind of a clever way to like. Okay, so in this region, you play with your cards face up, and that way you can see what your opponent has, and it kind of helps you strategize where you put your cards. Um, when you're playing with your cards, when you can't see your opponent's cards, it makes the game a lot harder, like an actual card game. And then there's ones where it's like elements come into play, and
Ugh.
there's times when I'm like playing the game standard, like, oh, here I am, I'll just put this card here and I'm good. And then your opponent will put a card down and like flip every single card on the board. It's like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
That
Some of those
chain
rules are
reaction
crazy.
is
Yes.
the most crushing thing that can happen, especially because 9 times out of 10 you're playing for a specific card because there are
Yep.
monster cards and there are character cards, and you want those character cards because they're the most powerful ones and can be used to refine into some quite useful items for building up the ultimate weapons.
Yeah, and magic too.
And magic too, but it can be so frustrating when you think you're on the cusp of winning and then they just put down that one card and cascades you back to square one.
That is a really speaking of the refining cards back into magic or items to upgrade your weapons, that is a really clever way to incorporate what is otherwise a pretty just very basic side questy type kind of bonus into something that can factor into your gameplay. Like, yeah, you want more of this gravity magic. Well, you find out that one of your guardian forces learns an ability to refine magic out of cards, and then you find out that one of those cards is what something you can funnel into your attack magic, and then you find someone who's got that card. It's like, yeah, you could definitely just kind of spam playing that player and get a bunch of that same card and then refine them. That way. That's a way that like you don't have to just rely on. We did complain a little bit up top about like getting into battle and sitting there and drawing magic and drawing magic and drawing magic. It's like, well, there are other ways to get it, which is good. I mean, it doesn't make any of those particular ways to get that magic less tedious. It just means that there are other ways and that everything is kind of incorporated, which I don't know. I keep like trying to be positive and then think like, but it's also kind of a pain in the ass also, but it's nice that it's there.
Yeah, because I mean, it could have just been a mini game. The fact that it ties in so tightly with the rest of the gameplay, like it is an incredibly well structured game as a whole.
Yeah, it gives it reason to be there.
Yeah, I mean, everything ties into everything else. It's just you really need the patience to figure out how everything interconnects.
No, I remember last playthrough, I went to that first guy, like you get the deck of cards right at the outside the classroom, and I went to the first guy I found and I played the game and I lost 3 times in a row and I didn't have enough cards to play anymore, and I was just like, yep, I'm fucking done, and I just carried on and never played the game again.
Well, I suppose a really good way to it's a good way to grind without having to actually do battles and then potentially level yourself up. Like if you're avoiding trying to level yourself up and you need to like fight a bunch of enemies to see if you can get the random drops or whatever, then that's where your abilities with your GFs come in, that you can refine either magic or items to turn into magic or whatever. There's like refined items, you can turn items into magic, you can turn I think maybe you can turn magic back into items. There's like all kinds of ways to like cross purpose all of your stuff into other stuff.
Yeah. I mean, again, good luck like figuring out what becomes what without a guide, because otherwise.
Right. That's why you need the guide, is because you need like full on spreadsheets and tables to figure out what all goes into
Those
whatever.
fucking
It's
Prima guides are worth their weight in gold.
I know. I mean, I would try to, and upgrading the weapons involves a lot of like getting one of you need like a spider web and 3 screws or whatever. It's like, well, the screws are being dropped here, you can buy them here or whatever, but the spider web is like only in the forest you have to fight this weird thing, and if you have a certain ability you can get it, or it's a random drop. And if it's a random drop and you're relying on that, then you're grinding in a game that kind of punishes you for grinding. So it's like you have to find a way around it, and yeah, without a guide it's tough.
I mean, the game is beatable if you like ignore all of the junctioning shit, but it's maybe not quite as much fun. And you just said like going into the forest there, and it instantly flashed to the training area inside of Balamb Garden,
Right.
where you accidentally walk up across a fucking T-Rex and you're too underleveled for it. Like, I think everyone who's played Final Fantasy VIII has done that. Walked into the training area and seen the T-Rex and gotten absolutely smoked. And
Right, but the cool
that
thing
T-Rex
is,
in particular.
once you get it's very susceptible to blind magic, so if you can blind it, then you can pretty much have your way with it. You can beat it, you can draw magic off of it, you can do whatever you want to do, and it barely ever hits you because you
Glad you took the time to define what you meant by "have your way with it."
I'm not.
Well, I mean,
like
you can do whatever you want. I mean, you can you can run away with it. You can sit there and just draw magic off of it for as long as you want, and then run away.
Sam was
like
so
that kind
concerned about whether or not he could, he didn't stop to think of whether or not he should.
All right.
'Tis a brave man that fucks a T-Rex.
There's our newest T-shirt design. I love it. I mean, shall we talk about one of the elephants in the room, the gunblade? Who wants to take a swing first?
Jeez. It's a weird.
Okay.
It's a cool looking.
Yeah,
thing,
Sam,
but
go
it's
ahead.
weird.
Yeah, you go.
It's yeah.
So, God, I like the gunblade in the sense of how it's used. The time trigger thing there. I mean, it's the dumbest weapon in the world. You have a sword and a gun inside of it. I mean, it's Final Fantasy to a T. It just absolutely belongs. However, and I'm gonna do a little bit of the plot here because this point has to be plot. At the beginning of the game, Sid says, "I can't believe we have 2 gunblade users. They're so rare in the world," and that is never developed on. The gunblade is just a weapon. It is never becomes like the gunblade's the only thing that could beat the sorcerer, or the gunblade's required for this single-use purpose, and there's only 2 of them. And it's just literally like, congratulations, you have a magic wand. We've only had 2 of those people in the last 50 years. Could have been the same thing.
It's like everyone knows how dumb the gunblade is. It's like, wow, we
Would
have
you
a
rather
gunblade
this giant sword, sniper rifle, or this
why would anyone use
blade
this?
with a gun in it? Yeah.
Yeah,
That's my only problem with the gunblade. I do like the gunblade, how it plays. I like the fact that it is a time-based mechanic in the battles. It adds to the fights.
Can you imagine how shitty that would be as a gun and both as a blade? Like, just in real life, if you were to try to use one like that, it'd just be like, wow, this is awkward to hold. It doesn't shoot well, and...
See, I have to take my sword to the range to sight it.
I've always looked at the gunblade as sort of less sort of gun. Like, it doesn't necessarily fire projectiles, but it uses that thrust to make the attack stronger. I loved everything about the gunblade. And, okay, people moan about the gunblade, and they say it's a stupid thing, it's a stupid design, and I say to them, do you remember when you were fun? Because at some point in the design, some genius said, what about if we had a sword that was a gun?
There was a fight in the development room. There was like, I want guns in this one. I want swords. And then the CEO comes down and goes, why not both?
Do you know what, though? I mean, that's actually a very, very good point, Brian. You've reminded us something that I wanted to bring up, because this entire world of Final Fantasy VIII does feel like they couldn't quite decide between whether they wanted the traditional style of Final Fantasy or the modern style of Final Fantasy from Final Fantasy VII, and kind of tried to have both sides at the same time, and nowhere is that more encapsulated than the gunblade.
Yeah. And like I said, the gunblade fits Final Fantasy to a T because it is a ridiculous weapon. And it's well used, but I would never run out like and say I need to get a replica gunblade to hang on the wall because it is such a cool thing.
I would. I have wanted
Yeah.
one since I played Final Fantasy VIII. If I had one of those on the games room wall, mate, I would be a happy man. If I had that next to a keyblade, I'm good for life.
I mean, it's
Absolutely.
fun if you don't think about it too much. It is very
That's
ridiculous.
it.
Like the Keyblade is ridiculous too, but that's more like that more
Yeah.
plays into the Disney-fied
But
version of Kingdom
the
Hearts.
keyblade has a purpose of being a key. The gunblade really has no purpose in the game of being a gunblade.
It's
Other than just being
cool.
there.
Yeah.
It is,
Like you're not going to
Yeah,
point the
and that-
gunblade
that's
at someone and shoot at them. You're gonna pull the trigger as you swing the blade, and it's gonna somehow also shoot them.
Yeah. But then I hear what you're saying, Brian, about, there's only 2 gunblade wielders in the world or what have you. But to me, that's a quick, clean, shortcut narrative device that tells me these guys are rivals then. Because if there's only 2 if there's only 2 gunblade masters in the world, then they are definitely going to be at it throughout this entire game because they have to be.
again, that is very loose thread to make rivals. Is, oh my god, we use the same weapon? It'd be like me and Sam using Bic Penzer and fighting over it. The problem is both of them end up on the opposite side of the conflict, and it's not like the gunblades, like a gunblade's the only thing that can stop a gunblade. It is never used in the story outside of explaining that these 2 are special because they're the only 2 that use gunblades. And, everybody is, what's her name, special little boys, so they could have taught other people to use the gunblade.
It's just fucking cool, Brian. That's all
But
it
cool's
needs to
not
be.
enough.
That's all
This is
it
a Final Fantasy. This is a Final Fantasy. Cool is not enough in these games.
I mean,
These are supposed to be highly developed storylines.
It's just like, why is a Buster Sword the size of a fridge? Because it's
Well,
cool.
I know. Yeah, I was just thinking about that. It's like people, the people that come at the gunblade are also like, well, the Buster Sword is so cool. It's like the Buster Sword is just as impractical as a gunblade.
Yeah.
It just looks sick.
Yeah, I won't argue that point. I've never been a Buster Sword fan either, but
Well, yeah.
I mean,
if you don't like,
at least
if you
it
don't like
fits the
one, you
world
definitely
better.
don't like the other. That's for sure.
yeah.
One day.
But again, it's not that I hate the gunblade. I'm just simply saying it is not used in the plot as anything special. It's just window dressing just to make the game have something no other game has.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
Like, if it's such a big deal that these 2 guys have a gunblade, then they should have some sort of an advantage for using it, aside from the fact that they just have it.
Had Sid never mentioned that, I can't believe there's only 2 gunblade users in the world, I would have had the expectation that would have paid off at some point.
Well,
and I did have that expectation. That's what got crushed.
Well, here's the other thing, too, that's funny, is, like, the way that you upgrade weapons in this game is a little convoluted. You have to find...
Oh, buddy.
I believe you have to find the magazines, right? And then,
Yep.
Yeah.
The shops, you can upgrade at the shop, but you have to also hold the requisite items. But having the magazines just helps you to kind of plan for what you will eventually need to upgrade your weapon. But the funny thing is like, there's only 2 gunblade users around. Like, who the fuck is writing a magazine article about how to upgrade them? Like, who's reading that?
2 guys, literally.
Right.
Yeah. All right, that's a fair point.
That's
Okay.
just thinking too hard about something that's meant to just be fun. So
It is, but
Whatever.
I hadn't actually noticed that before,
It's
so I'm
just
going to
really
need time
funny.
to process that information. I
very,
love
very
the gunblade,
specific.
and
It's a very
mark my
specific
words,
magazine.
I will
It got quiet
own
there
one.
for a second, so I think Alan was thinking about the next part of the show.
I was just having a drink.
What are you thinking, Alan?
You wanna play a
I
game of
mean,
cards?
obviously, yeah. Let's play some cards.
Okay.
I mean, we're going to get into story here in just a bit, but let's just very quickly. It's a Final Fantasy game, and we've already touched on like Liberi Fatalis and stuff like that. It's a great sounding game. It's
It really is. It had the Dolby surround sound. It was one of the first games I ever encountered that had that.
It had
Oh.
Dolby surround sound, but you didn't.
No, I didn't. It's true, but like it had the capability of like this was
somebody did.
Well, this was one of the first. This was when games really started to take that leap to become cinematic, and they really did pay a lot of attention to the sound. I mean, it's across 4 discs, and it's like a lot of that had to do with the fact that there was so much audiovisual content packed into it, and I don't know, it's just, you used to see that Dolby everywhere, and it was just like, oh man, that's got to be
That's
a high
true.
quality whatever,
And you know what I found?
Don't
if I
quote me on this, but I think wasn't "Eyes on Me" like the first ending song that had lyrics?
I was literally about to talk
yeah.
about Eyes on Me, and I don't know if that's true or not. I believe it, but that was actually on one of the discs if you put it in your CD player, which I
Yeah.
thought was
That's
really
fucking
cool.
That
cool,
was the
too.
best part of PlayStation back in the days. You could put certain discs into a CD player and just have a CD of the music.
Yeah,
It's like
that
reverse
was
Monster
awesome.
Rancher.
Yeah. Fuck, oh man, I haven't thought about that game in a long time.
But yeah,
I'd love to
I
cover
mean,
it if we could.
sounds amazing. I mean, looks. I think, we laugh about it now. I mean, there's that meme that goes around about Squall being the best looking guy at the party, and then you just see that horrible pixelated mess that is his face. I mean, if you're looking at it that close, then fair enough. But bear in mind that this was the follow-up to Final Fantasy VII, and one of my gripes with that game, which is completely a limitation of the hardware at the time, is just that transition between the looks of the characters, between the different areas, as it were. There's the battle screens, there's the traversal screens, and what have
Yeah,
you.
you got to remember too that Final Fantasy VII was originally being developed for the N64 before they jumped ship for CDs.
Not a slight on the game whatsoever. It's
No,
just,
and you're right. Like the characters in this game look absolutely fantastic
They
for
do.
the era, and the fact that they don't change their shape when you do go into a battle, and the full motion cutscenes are even better than they were in Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, big time.
This game improved a lot in such a short amount of time, like 2 years, and this game is
Yeah.
leaps and bounds ahead of what Final Fantasy VII looked like.
They were
I mean, it
really
looks-
good at that.
It looks goofy, but some of the transitions between gameplay and cutscene, because there were some pre-rendered backgrounds that would really easily slip into, like, I'm thinking of that scene. It's in the first mission, but when the satellite dish deploys in that TV tower, like, as that's starting, you still have the ability to kind of walk around. So it's more immersive that way. I mean, yes, looking back on it now, you can really tell. It's like when you're watching a Scooby-Doo episode and you could tell what's going to move because it's animated and the rest is just the background. But it was really neat to be able to just like seamlessly transition between a cutscene and gameplay.
Yeah, absolutely. And to think, like, not long after this, we got Final Fantasy IX, which, again
was
of,
leaps and bounds.
I mean, listen,
Yeah, even
is it
better.
a hot take to say that Final Fantasy IX is probably the best looking game in the series?
I won't fight you on that one.
I think it's gorgeous. I think it's a work of art.
It's definitely the best of the three on the PlayStation.
Oh, for sure, yes. I mean, at that point, it's practically a PS2 game. It's
yeah,
like
sure.
Yeah.
getting to
Definitely.
that point.
Definitely.
And you know what? If you're think about it at the time, when this comes out, you're probably still playing. You don't have the flat panel projection TV, Dolby Atmos, whatever the fuck, surround sound bullshit. Like, you're probably still playing this on a CRT TV, and on a CRT, this would look very good.
Oh,
Like,
100%.
you wouldn't really fret Squall's face looking a little janky or whatever. Like,
Well, every game had that because
yeah.
they didn't really have the ability to make faces. Like even Lara Croft was pretty bland
God.
at the time.
Yeah, we just talked about that game. It's just like, man, they really focused on her shape, and then when she turns around, it's like, oh my god.
Triangles.
Yeah, like, but the remaster, or like basically not even a remaster, just like I think they do call it remastered, but it's basically the same game but reskinned. It's like there are some quality of life improvements, whatever, that you can turn on or off.
Now,
but like,
I wish.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Sam. But Final Fantasy IX on PC did something called the Megori Mogi update. I got the name. I butchered the name. I have it on my computer, but it takes everything in Final Fantasy IX and it upreses it. So all the pixelated backgrounds become these nice, crisp, clean backgrounds. And I wish they would do that with this game.
Didn't they? Though?
Because even the remaster, it just cleans it up a little bit. But I'm talking about they literally rebuilt all the
really?
all the meshes.
I've not played the remaster of this one. I should.
It's good. I mean, it plays exactly the same. It just looks like, if you're looking at it nowadays and you're like, man, this game does kind of look kind of ugly now. Like, it fixes all of that. Like the faces
Yeah,
are
it did.
much better looking.
Yeah. I mean, again, we talked about it on Tomb Raider, that early sort of PS1. The graphics have not aged particularly well, but I think this is a good. They took a good swing with this. Like, it was very
Yeah, this is
ambitious
still in
visually.
the infancy of 3D graphics, and Square was like a leader in this department,
Oh yeah.
especially. Was it Final Fantasy X? I think it was. Just before that, they came out with the Final Fantasy movie, and they built that entire studio in Hawaii that just absolutely rocketed 3D graphics to the next level.
Spirits Within.
Yeah, Spirits Within.
Yeah, but I don't remember when they made that studio, and I don't know if it affected this game at all.
I
no idea.
This is a tangent, but I've never seen that movie, and I'd like to. I know it's not. I know it's not good.
Worth a watch.
Yeah,
I like it. I mean, it's not necessarily a Final Fantasy.
Yeah, that's the biggest issue with it is it's a video game movie that does what all video game movies back then did and spits on the fans who actually want to see the video game movie.
That being said, Advent Children, on the other hand, that film fucks.
Fucks hard.
Yeah,
I like Advent Children.
Love that movie.
It's a weird story continuation, but I really like the visuals of it, and that really fed into like Final Fantasy VII Remake. I think
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
All right, we've danced around this. We've danced around this elephant for too long. We're going to get into some deep spoiler territory here and talk about the story of Final Fantasy VIII.
Because we have to.
Because we have to, and because I genuinely enjoy the story, and Brian genuinely doesn't enjoy the story. So one of us is going to come out of here unscathed, and we're going to make Sam the referee.
Well, I'm going to be in the middle because I don't understand what the fuck is going on with the story, and I never really cared enough to like really get deep
point,
into
Brian.
It. So go ahead.
That point. You can't take a point for Sam's lack of understanding. What kind of bullshit is this?
Already starting on a deficit there, Alan.
So
you each get a point because at one it's a detriment, but also I'm willing to learn.
So let's talk about the Dollet mission, because I really enjoy that as a place to start the game. It's basically
you're right, actually, because all the stuff that happens in the early game is just kind of tutorial, so we can kind of skip over that.
Well, we've kind of already done that bit. Just
learning. You go get a Guardian Force and you learn how to use them. Boom, you're caught up.
Exactly. So your first mission as Seeds is to go to, I guess, basically help liberate Dollet.
It's not your first mission. It's actually your exam.
Well, that's true. Well, it's still a mission.
Yeah, I guess so. Like potato.
This is going to get fucking ugly, mate.
I'm just getting myself warmed up.
I'll bet. I'm already warm. It's too hot in here. So yeah, this mission is your, and I love the fact that this is your exam and how that plays into your rank as a seed. And we didn't talk about how that ties into how much money you make as well. That's a whole different thing. But yeah, so you go to liberate this town, start up the communications disk and all of that good stuff, and you're on a timer. And I love the fact that you are judged for this mission. And Brian, what do you think about the Dollet mission?
Oh, this was the demo mission that made me really excited for the game. So for me, it's the best part of the game. You're right. You get on there, you get up the mountain. Cypher's a dick. You kind of learn that, hey, no matter what, he's just going to be a douche. Again, you meet the characters that are going to be underdeveloped through the story. So you get Zell, who shows up randomly and is barely introduced. Then you run into Sophie later on, who, again, just appears there and then is part of your party all of a sudden. And all in all, it's a great way to start the game. It actually sets a tone.
Do you know why?
Which is what was great about it.
Do you know why you like this mission so much?
Because it was part of Brave Fencer Musashi, and Brave Fencer Musashi was a much better game.
Because it's Chrono Trigger.
Go explain that one.
Okay. So it's a mission in the game by which your choices affect the outcome of that mission. So,
like every game.
Listen, characters that you talk to, you will be judged for. It's basically the trial from Chrono Trigger. You even have to fight a fucking giant robot on the bridge. There are so many similarities between this and Chrono Trigger. And at the end of it, it's just like, well, you jumped down instead of walking around. That makes you a bad person. You know, you didn't help this person on the way. You know, you completed this in a certain amount of time. And at the end, you're basically ranked on it. So tell me there aren't similarities there, Brian.
Okay, I guess if you want to really like stretch the definition, yeah, one's a trial, one's an exam, but the idea is, yeah, I guess pretty much the same thing. You're just hitting little checkpoints or check marks or check boxes in the list here. But of course, if it's an exam, they have to do something to make it seem like an exam, which is kind of a neat concept into itself.
Yeah.
But I would never sully the good name of Chrono Trigger comparing it to this.
Well, you kind of just did because you agreed with me. So point to Alan.
I'm just going to use the Chrono Trigger and redo it.
I mean, oh God, where do we even fucking start with this story?
Let's start right at the beginning. Let's start with after the exam, they become seedy, and that's kind of where things start going off course. I get that Squall's the main character, but the fact that he's a squad leader, and he wasn't even going to be a squad leader, it's the fact that Cypher fucked up so bad he failed that they made Squall a squad leader.
Yep.
So they don't even have confidence in him from the beginning. But then they take his teacher and stuff him under his command and then send him on his first mission. It's just, I don't know, too little too fast. Like they could have done a Mickey Mouse mission or something like that to develop a rapport with these characters. And to me, that's immediately where it went off the rails.
I don't know. I sort of see the Forest Owls mission as being that. So you're sent to Timber, I think, to help the Forest Owls to basically kidnap the Galbadian president, and you know, because they're a nasty bunch of...
I will admit that was also neat, the whole train swapping the cars thing where you had to do certain like switches. That was...
I used to fuck it up so bad as a kid.
Yeah. They spent a lot of time putting some good stuff in the early game.
Yeah, that's true. These missions are fun, and maybe if it had just been mission after mission after mission like that, I don't know. I wonder what that game would have looked like.
Actually, that would have not been bad. If you make these military kids and then they just do a bunch of missions, and all of a sudden the missions start connecting in as you develop the plot, that would have been really neat. But this one kind of jumps off the rail from congratulations to graduating. Oh, by the way, you're going to go kill somebody.
Well, they're basically being used as fodder, really, aren't they? It's just like, you know, go out into the world and do what you've been trained for, even though we're not going to tell you. I mean, let's yada yada some stuff, because basically,
yeah,
it evolves around the fact that this sorceress Adia, and there are only a limited number of sorceresses in the world, so this is kind of a big deal. But she is being made the advisor to the Galbadian president, and that's kind of a bad thing, because she's kind of a dick at this point. So... Your mission then becomes, with the help of Irvine, to go and assassinate Sorceress Adia, and basically, you know, solve that whole problem. Because seeds are basically trained to fight sorceresses, even though they've never done it.
Oh, God. The whole Irvine thing there just drives me in the story. I was so pissed off at the end of that because he comes out this cocky, you know, womanizer. You know, he's very cool. He's got a hat. He's got a trench coat and a sniper rifle hung over his shoulder. And the whole thing is he's going to shoot the sorceress, and that's going to end the whole mission and everything like that. And then as soon as he gets up there, he turns into this blubbering coward, and it's like, what was the point of that? Again, they don't pay that off later in the game.
I mean, yeah, but it just paints him as human and a child.
Yeah, but you're interjecting stuff into it, but he's supposed to be a badass. He could have taken the shot and like being super confident about it, and the result would have been the same, and they didn't have to like completely destroy a character right as he started.
Agreed, but then it would have only have been a one-disc game.
But... Oh no, it didn't have to be a one-disc game because the shot would have been blocked because his cowardice had no bearing on that shot hitting the sorcerer.
I don't know. I think she was onto something when the gates came down and trapped her in there.
Yeah, but again, she blocked it without much effort.
True.
The whole idea was she was unstoppable.
Now, I know we need to speed this along because we've actually got a bit of a time limit tonight. So, let's just get to the main crux of the
Oh,
matter.
I like what you're doing here.
So, I've just looked at the time and realised that we need to yada yada this a bit. Basically, what it comes down to is that there is an evil sorceress from the future who is attempting to use time compression, and what that is she has used a machine to cast her consciousness back in time to occupy the body of a sorceress in modern day, because what she wants to do is look for the girl on whom her machine is based on, who has the natural inherent abilities to throw people's minds back in time. So basically, she's on a pit stop here to find a lone who's going to throw her mind even further back in time so that she can achieve time compression, mush all of time into one great big ball of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff, and basically be a god. And that's what it comes down to.
Now, that's the ending of the entirety of the story, but I think the more important part is the connection between the characters that they just threw at you. And
well, yes. I mean,
none of the characters, like, here's what I'm talking about with, what's his name? The sniper guy. I can't even think of his name right now. I'm so angry. Irvine. Had his cowardice played into the flashback when because all the characters end up at this orphanage, or they learn they're all part of an orphanage, and Ida, or however you say her name, the sorcerer, was the mother at that place. The girl, Alone, she was the big sister to Squall, quote unquote, and she's also the major, like, key point to the time travel. And had they taken, like, Irvine and he was a coward back then, it would have added to that story and developed that character really quickly. But at that time, they just made every kid there just a normal kid, no personalities. And then you find out, like, Sid, the whole point Sid made Garden was to develop these orphans to kill the sorcerer, who turns out to be his wife.
Well, yes, because she is possessed by Ultimacia.
And evil, yeah, the sorceress Ultimacia there. And it's this long circle of mundaneness.
I do understand why the ending revelation is seen as a bit of a deus ex machina. However, it is explained and seeded, no pun intended, earlier on in the game, that the fact that these kids from Balamb Garden are using GFs. Now, the GF takes up a particular point in the person's brain, and the longer that they use them for, that then drives out the memories of their childhood. So,
which is a great device so that you don't really have to build a story to connect the characters.
Right. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm with Brian on this one a little bit. Like the whole, like, that's why I made the amnesia joke up top. It's just like, well, we have this thing, these GFs, and if you junction them and you're encouraged to, because it's a main game mechanic, it makes it very easy for them to say, like, well, you've forgotten everything because you've been junctioning GFs, and that's a side effect of that. So that's
but
why
I like that, because it's something
bullshit
that you're being taught to use so flippantly throughout the game, and then you realize, oh, actually, this is something that has been affecting the plot, essentially, without me realizing it. Maybe I'm just easily pleased and easily impressed. I don't know.
But this was one of your earlier on games, right? Like you said, you watched your sister play this game, so you might be looking at it through rose-colored glasses as well.
Almost certainly.
Well, I played this game after playing, many games in this series, so I'm looking at this through a continuation of games I loved.
Also,
I mean, it was not my first rodeo, but certainly one of the earlier games that told a story.
I would definitely say that this plot point is a lot like the Gunblade. It's there's weirdness to it. It doesn't make sense when you think about it too hard. If you don't think about it very hard and you just kind of roll with it, it's like, yeah, they've explained it because there's this core mechanic of the game that, you can't. I was just thinking about it. Like, could you go through the game without using the GFs at all and be successful? No, you can't, because you can't equip other abilities like draw or magic or item or whatever. That's all tied to whether or not you have a guardian force equipped. So the game basically does force you to at least equip one. And as long as you've equipped one for any period of time, then the plot point works, because they'll say like, well, you've been equipping GFs, and so you're going to forget everything.
But could they have foreshadowed this early on in the game as you equip it? Like when Squall runs into Alone there for the first time in the library, could there be a moment where he has like a flash and it's like he remembers something, or it flashes the orphanage, but he can't really put it together yet? And there's a bit of foreshadowing there. Because once they get to the first time you learn that the Guardian forces affect their memories is after you get to the orphanage.
Right.
After that, they determine they figured out, hey, we all lived here. And then that's when they start making all the connections.
Again,
you would
it's
kind of
not.
think that they would say that up
But-
top in your GF tutorial. Like, this is how you jump to
do.
GF. Also, it's going to wipe your memory.
There is
I'm not talking like that obvious. I'm talking, like I said, a little flash as you run into somebody from your past, and that kind of gives this hint that something's up with those Guardian forces, or something's up with something anyways.
There is a diary entry on, I think it's like in one of
I'm
those
not gonna
computers.
read, nerd.
Yeah, exactly. Where fuck me, right? Where a student does mention about like junctioning GFs, and does that mean they're going to start forgetting things? And that you can find pretty much right at the start of the game.
Yeah,
But again,
that
easily
requires
missed.
you to do extra work.
Easily missed. I'll give you that.
Yeah, like I'm talking something that shoves the plot right into your face and then makes you a little bit intrigued about what's going on.
I guess.
Again, it's give you something and then reward you for going along with it at a point in the game.
And
that's my issue with that. It's the same as, oh, I didn't know the gardens could fly. We better go figure this out. And you figure out how to make the garden fly. And when you finally get it flying or moving, you run into a second moving garden. And it's just like, well, these guys had the same idea, or what the fuck?
Yeah, but that is so cool.
Sid, who built the gardens, didn't know they could fly.
It is so cool when they fly.
Yeah,
it's
a
but
cool
That
airship
whole battle is
concept, I
so
guess.
cool.
Yeah.
But it's the again, it's the making a plot happen without any build up to it.
I mean, listen, if that pisses you off, then how about the revelation that Squall is basically responsible for the entire plot of the game, because he goes back in time with Ultimacia, and as she dies and transfers her powers to Idea, he basically tells her to found Seed and the gardens, thus putting in place the entire
Yeah, and he's creating a loop, which is kind of a cool ending. But I mean,
I love
that's
it.
how the game. That's how it should have happened.
I love it. Like anything with time travel and anything with causality, and I'm a sucker.
You got to do that in time travel, though. Like the fact that the time travel became a plot point late in the game was kind of, again, something that it just seemed like, well, we're done with this kind of military plot. Let's go to time travel.
I guess, but I still love it.
But no, you're right. Like that whole loop thing, that is good storytelling there, because it's like the grandfather paradox. Without Squall going back and telling Idea to form Seed, does Seed ever get formed? And then, it creates a loop that requires both characters to be in specific spots.
Oh, I do love a paradox.
Paradoxes are great.
Yes, they are. I mean, listen.
No, I don't argue with that point on that one. Even the time travel thing itself, I really enjoyed. I mind you, I'm a sucker for time travel. I love those story
Same.
plots. But I don't know. Like, I wish that was really forecasted at the beginning of the game. I wish time was more of a central theme rather than being the reason we can get everybody to where they need to be.
I mean, listen.
No.
I disagree with your opinions on the story, but I understand them. And I think it's just what it comes down to is we have different expectations about how stories are told. Like I respect your opinion immensely, and I see how you've come to it. I think I'm just...
You should. Sam's already given me 2 points, and you done.
Well, I'll tell you
Alan
what.
gets two additional points, so now it's tied again.
We'll have to play
I spoke too soon. Let's talk about Laguna's story. Laguna's story was actually supposed to be its own separate world. The original concept of the game actually had a fully fleshed out Laguna story that you would play alongside the Squall story, but it got cut and put into flashbacks. And that, I guess the time travel mechanic was introduced early. I apologize for that. But Yeah, Elone
Point to
knocks you out
me.
with her mind powers, and then she sends you back in to see what the world of Laguna is doing, and you
It's
don't really learn much about Laguna early on in the story.
the fact that they
Nobody.
just kind of pass out and then all dream about Laguna and Kyros and Borden.
He's sexy.
But it's so disjointed, and the fact that you don't really understand what's going on, like they don't explain it until, I mean, it's not until like disc 2, right, that you're kind of starting to understand who the fuck Laguna is and why you're all dreaming.
I don't think you actually completely understand until disc 3 when you run into him in that futuristic city.
That's right. Okay.
You
Well,
know,
I was
one
giving
of
the game too much
three
credit.
cities on the planet. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest. I'll be honest with you. Even now, I have questions.
Yeah.
But that's not inherently a bad thing. I like the fact that this story started off with very little context about what you're seeing, because it kept me wanting to find out more about Laguna. And then I wasn't a big fan of the payoff, like him being the president of Future City, but I do like how he got there. And then that, what's it called? The pandemonium.
The lunatic Pandora.
Yeah, Lunatic Pandora, that giant machine that gets explained barely once with Laguna and then all of a sudden shows up. Cypher was out looking for it the whole time, didn't tell anybody. Yeah, that's another problem with this game. The fact that stuff just kind of popped in when it was needed and it's just underexplained, overused, because it was the catalyst that brought all the monsters from the moon down to the planet Earth.
Do you know what? Like, obviously, it's no secret that things had to be cut.
Yeah.
What I would like more than anything is basically a director's cut remake. Which
That would be awesome.
And you know what? If you really want to do it over 3 fucking games and release it over several years, fine, I guess. But I would like to see this game done justice, remade in all of its glory, and tell the story that they intended to tell. Because
yes, and use plot points.
Oh, Brian. Listen, we're going to wrap this up right away, but I just think...
Are we? Because
yes.
We didn't talk about the best part, getting the Ragnarok.
Well, I mean, we're on the clock, buddy.
Yeah, we still got a couple minutes here.
Go ahead,
I'm just
then.
saying, like, you're in space. Space is the actual pinnacle of this entire game. Everything about this game is not wrapped up, but it culminates in that scene in space where, you know, you're taking the unconscious Rinoa to the space station because you have to find Elone who can get her to wake up, and then she gets possessed by the sorcerer that Ida had lost and had taken possession of Rinoa. Then she spacesuits out into space and she breaks the locks on the sorcerer. I can't remember her
Adele.
name. The big bad sorcerer.
I will remember the name Sorceress Adele until the day I die, because
Adele.
that bitch,
Yes.
that bitch stonewalled me on the start of the third disc and completely killed my playthrough. Could not get past
Just
her.
be crazy.
And
But,
couldn't go anywhere to train.
Yeah, so Rinoa breaks the locks on her seal, and then all the monsters come down to the planet Earth, and she goes down and she, you know, takes over Lunatic Pandora, and Rinoa is left to be floating in space. And Squall, finally, you know, being a man, jumps in a spacesuit and fucks off out after her, and then that turns into their big love moment. And then they just bump randomly into Ragnarok, which just happened to be floating out there for, you know, reasons explained in the game. But then you get your airship, and that's when you kind of can explore the entire world a lot faster than trying to move around on that, like, painfully slow garden mobile. Which I like the graphics, I like the animations, but fuck, that thing was slow.
Oh yeah.
Also, you had to, like, go up certain shores, and
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, like, I mean, fucking, you put a turbo in it or something. Anyways, but that was, like, a really great part of the game. I love that culmination of that part of the story. And then again, it just kind of fell flat for me after that. But at that point, everything was wrapping up, so I think I was just kind of, like, already tired of the story by that point.
It is easy to burn out on an RPG, like, especially as you get
Especially
into
one if you're not into the story.
Well, and especially one that's as involved in this as this one is, because, you know, you do have certain elements that it would be nice to have, like, I want to be able to upgrade my weapons. I want to be able to junction the most powerful magics to my attack or whatever you want to do. But there are sometimes several steps that you need to follow in order to do those things. And there are a chain of events, sometimes stretching back entire discs of the game, that if you didn't start early, you're not going to be able to catch up. That's part of what makes this game so difficult as an undertaking. Like, anytime I would start to play this game, it's like kind of feels like an uphill battle. Like, I know I want to do X, Y, and Z, but I got to make sure I don't miss something. I'm always paranoid I'm going to miss a step somewhere and then not be able to execute. It's just like, fuck. It's just such a weird, convoluted knot of the game.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I think I got it all out, Alan.
You're not wrong. And
minus 10 points from Alan.
wait, I lose?
And that's the show.
Ah, dang it.
And then 5 points to Gryffindor.
Fuck, Gryffindor beat me.
50 points to Gryffindor, just because.
Listen. For pure cheekiness, 50 points to Gryffindor.
Ooh, I like a bit of cheekiness. I mean, listen, it's an RPG. There's no way we'd be able to cover every single aspect. And I think we took a massive chunk out of this one. But
I could go on forever about this story if I had like a beat-by-beat list.
I mean,
music
this
is amazing.
Already. I mean, we did music.
Yeah, a little bit. But I love the battle theme of this. Like, I could listen to the battle theme.
Well, you should have said that during the music section.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm coming back to it.
10 points.
Minus 1 point to Sam.
10 points
the boss
Sam.
theme is great, too. Yeah, 10 points from me.
It is. But then it always is in Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know we're going to have missed stuff.
Natsu.
And, sue us. But I think it's a good enough time to start wrapping things up here. And I'm not going to give it to Brian, am I? I'm going to give it to Sam to start with.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, this is an early-ish RPG experience for me. I want to say my first RPG was Final Fantasy Legend 2, which is a very odd one.
Woo.
And then Pokemon. And then kind of this, I guess. Like, it's a really, really weird trajectory, but... yeah, because to me, for the most part, like, video games were platformers. And that was kind of my, not my only source of, my only genre, but it was like, that's when I thought video games as a young kid, like, I thought of platformers for the most part. So a game like this was very novel. I was really interested to try it. It was kind of the driving force behind even wanting a PlayStation after, it had gone through almost its entire life cycle at that point. I don't know. There's a lot to be said. I've played this game probably as many hours, if not more, than most games I've ever played in my entire life. Only just because I've taken so many stabs at it throughout the years, trying different things. Still haven't beaten it, which is just really sometimes just disheartening. It's like someone who says, like, I'm going to write the next great American novel, and then, like, just never really quite finishes it or whatever, like, takes a bunch of different tries. This is my great American novel. I don't know what else to say about this game. I do enjoy the game. I like the ability to customize and do a lot of different things. Sometimes that makes it a little too complex than what I want in a game. I do sometimes like the ability to just, grind levels and accumulate money and upgrade my shit and whatever, level up and grow the characters that way. But this is not that. It definitely subverts all of your RPG expectations in a lot of ways, and I don't know. I'll always have a soft spot for it. So it's not my favorite Final Fantasy. It's not my favorite game, but it's one that I do enjoy. One of these days I will finish it. I don't even know. Probably not this year, but one of these days. Hopefully before I die, I finish this game. I'm gonna give it. I give it like a nice solid 7.5. Like it's not bad. It's just not one of my favorites. I think it's definitely the longer, the further I get from the original time I play it, and then going back to it and just kind of remembering all of the various involved intricacies of the game. I like it less the more that time passes, but it's still a decent game. So 7.5.
Very nice. Almost an 8, but not quite. Which leads us to Brian. Go ahead, buddy.
Oh. All right. Well, I've been writing a couple of notes as we've been talking, and I'll be real quick here. Start with the draw system. It's very tedious. So, obviously, you got to draw magic from enemies, and getting 100 copies of any spell can kind of involve like standing in battles for minutes at a time. It just encourages grinding in a way that it's just kind of boring, and I don't know. It feels like you're spending more time collecting magic than you're actually fighting, and then using said magic actually makes you weaker because you tie it to your character stats through the Junction system, and if you cast said spell, you lose stock. So you want the stronger spells tied to your character stats, and then you end up using weaker magic to offset that, and what's the point? So you either make that choice, which I guess through our discussion, you guys have kind of swayed me on that because it really makes you think about using it, and then it becomes the elixir paradox. The Junction system is very poorly explained in this game. I mean, it has tutorials, but it can become confusing if you're not 100% sure what's going on or you don't have a guide. The game, of course, is easily broken. There's like things that you could do with Cypher early on in the game that will level up some Junction forces without leveling up your characters, because you can level up Cypher all you want and your Junction forces on him, and basically use those Junction forces on the other two characters without ever making them fight or gain experience. Ergo, they become low levels with high Guardian forces. But that's neither here nor there. The enemy level scaling is neat in this game. I mean, it's definitely something that I wish they explored and refined over the course of future video games. But I also do like you feel like a god by leveling up throughout a level. And it also helps with, I do like grinding sometimes. Sometimes putting on like a TV show and grinding through a game to get up some levels is just kind of relaxing. The summons are a bit overpowered. They can dominate the early game. You can simply spam them instead of engaging like with any of the other system. It really does make the combat a bit repetitive. Animations on those summons, though, are pretty long, so I guess that's your deterrent right there. You can also abuse the limit breaks. If you keep your characters at a low level, they're going to get their limit breaks far more often, so one of the biggest strategies in the game is to stay intentionally near death. Triple Triad, great game. Bit of a distraction from the main game. I really wish they, again, put that on a goddamn cell phone, because then I could do that while driving. And, of course, the random rules of Triple Triad can become kind of frustrating in the late game. Bit of the story, the orphanage twist. Most of the main cast, they kind of grew up in the same orphanage. We went over that. The reveal was a bit contrived and a little bit unbelievable, and it almost seemed like a coincidence taken too far. The Guardian Force memory loss thing, the explanation for the forgotten childhood memories, is the Guardian Force has damaged their memories, and it's kind of a convenient plot device, in my opinion. And I find Squall difficult to like. I know, Alan, you really like Squall and the thought thing. His withdrawn personality, it's frustrating. And he spends so much of the game, internally monologuing, and it's just, overly moody or passive. He doesn't come out of his shell till late in the game. The Rinoa Squall romance in the game, it feels a bit rushed. I don't know, it develops a little bit too quickly in the late game. It should have been dished out through the entirety of the game. The narrative jumps in the third disc from a military conflict, like I said, to a time compression and sorcery mythology. It loses a bit of its focus. I would have preferred them stick with the sorceress mythology and the time compression throughout the entire thing. That would have been more fun. The whole military aspect of it, it felt like it was completely dropped near the end of it, or kind of dropped. I guess. I don't know. The end of the game story is a bit fuzzy in my mind. They really didn't develop Ultima Sia's motivation. She gets really limited screen time, and her goals and her personality aren't really explored too deeply, which makes her kind of a flat villain compared to some of the ones that came before her, like Kefka and Sephiroth. The time compression is a bit confusing, and the final act it introduces this complex time travel concept. I don't know. I, for one, am still confused at the entire time travel thing, and I might need to have somebody sit me down and explain it like I'm 5. Also, Laguna's story, it doesn't feel complete. That's probably because they cut the crap out of it. And then the political storyline gets abandoned. Like, the early themes of this game involves war, mercenaries, and military academies. Oh, hold on a second. I got a message telling me to hurry up. Oh, no. All right. So I'll wrap this up really quick. So, yeah, the political storyline gets wrapped up. Later, yeah, blah, blah, blah. We didn't talk about Norg, the guy who's like the funder of the gardens. That was just, he's there, you kill him, and then that's over. That was so not even necessary for the overall arching story. I've said about the characters, they lack development. You know, aside from Squall, Rinoa, and Laguna, a lot of the characters are just, they're underutilized. Quittis loses her importance very quickly. She's introduced as a major character in the beginning of the game, and she just fades into the background. Selphie gets very little screen time outside of a few key moments. Zell's character arc completely stalls. And Irvine's development happens late in the game, and much of his characterization occurs in the middle. World building complaints? None. I'm not even going to get into that one, because why? I think that's it. I got more notes, but I think I'm droning on here because Alan is tapping the side. I did the rank. I don't even remember where this ranked on my list. I know it's not at the bottom, but it's definitely not in the top half of the games that Final Fantasy has made. And I come from Final Fantasy 4 or 2 on the Super Nintendo to 6 to 7 to this game. And that's why I find this game to be a bit frustrating to play. It's just not as good as those games. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Just to conclude. But if you'll give me time, I'll do a whole other podcast complaining about the game.
I think you just did.
Sorry. It was a couple of notes, and then it was just like I started going, and all of a sudden I started thinking of stuff, and then it was like I could slip this in here, and then I realized I zoned into this like hate zone.
Brian managed to quick play inside of a main episode. That was impressive.
Inception.
I Sammed.
You know what
This
you
is
did?
what Sam normally does. Sam does like the 5-10 minute wrap up some days.
It's like you fell asleep and became Laguna and did a separate podcast on.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened.
Yeah.
All right.
Do you want to play some cards?
Absolutely. I'm going to keep this brief because obviously you guys have already gone over much of it. This was my first Final Fantasy game, and you never forget your first. It is what made me fall in love with the series. From the opening cinematic to the characters to the gameplay, it made me fall in love with the JRPG. Like, I love the characters because I've kind of grown up with them. You know, back in the day I was, that kind of moody teenage angst thing really resonated with me, so I loved them then. As I've grown up, I've come to sort of judge them slightly differently, but you kind of have to look at it in terms of the themes of this game. This is a story about how war and conflict affects the young and how they can be easily manipulated through propaganda and training to follow ends that are not necessarily their own. And I love the very human story that is behind this game. And I think that's reflected in the fact that, yeah, characters like Ultimacia aren't really fleshed out because they just needed a world-ending threat for this team to go up against. It's not every game necessarily needs a complex villain. Just give me a cackling madwoman just at the end of time trying to destroy all life on Earth. Good enough for me. What I love is that I do love the character interactions, and I do love their very slow growth to become a team rather than this disparate group of soldiers. And the revelation that they did all know each other from the start works for me. Like the explanation that it's all because of the GFs, which they've cleverly woven into a major plot point of the game. The actual game mechanics that you don't realize is affecting the story, I think, is really clever. I'm starting to lose my voice. Like, again,
Good.
gameplay, you son of a bitch. Gameplay, music, visuals, all of that stuff we've gone over already, I absolutely love. But it's just, I'm a sucker for a time travel story. I'm a sucker for a soppy love story. You know, I'm a sucker for the power of friendship overcoming all odds, and this game had all of the above, and I love it. I just think it's a marvelous game. It's definitely one I will play again. And it's definitely... it's one of my favourite Final Fantasies, and I know that is in huge part due to the nostalgia, but nostalgia's a powerful drug, my friends, and I'm going to give this an 8.5.
Well, to be fair, you also liked Final Fantasy 13, so you can be wrong twice, I guess.
I can be wrong far more than that. Don't you dare underestimate me, Brian.
Well, that ended up exactly as I thought, because I did kind of sit in the middle, and it was reflected in the scores.
There you go. We know what we're doing. But that's it.
Yes.
That's going to do it for, if you've stuck around this long, this is probably going to be one of our longer episodes of Retrotopia, so we thank you for sticking around this long through the ramblings of three madmen as we try and pick through the complexities of time travel and friendship. But,
Want to play some cards?
yes.